Mute, please.
Muted.
What's up, guys? It's AJ from
Hey YouTubers and friends, how you doing out there tonight? Absolutely fabulous, I hope. I'm doing pretty good myself, and as usual on Tuesday Night Hangout Live, we got my amigos Jesse and Dano, and we have tonight with us Nugget Brain Wayne Peterson, the president of WWATS. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. With your hosts, Eddie Wyman, Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a classic old-man production.
Hey everybody, I'm back. Yeah, I know. We have a pretty good house in here. We have all our regulars. Thanks for joining us. David from Tasmania, PD from Scotland. We have New England in the house, and our friends in Indiana. Let me get in my partners in crime and shrink me down. You know how I do it, but I'll get Toledo Jess and Dano in here quite quick, and we'll go on to other and bigger things. How you doing tonight, Jesse and Dano?
Don't say it, Jesse. You're doing great this week, right? You're not sick this week, right?
No, I'm not sick this week, but I was waiting for Dano to speak up there.
I'll jump in there, buddy. I'll jump in there.
Hi, everybody. Hey, John Wolf just showed up. How's it going?
Hey, John, David,
Evening,
David
John.
Villa. I see Ron changed his name back to Ron to the Hills. I always think of Iron Maiden when I see his handle. Patrick
Villa
Moore.
is
Hi,
here.
Wendy. Who?
Mr. Villa, David Villa.
Yeah.
He's in the
David.
house tonight.
Yes, he is. And I see Ronald's here.
Like I said, Dirtbag Patrick's in the room.
Jeremy Brown and Eric Carter.
He's your dirtbag.
He's my buddy.
No, he's all our buddies.
He's my buddy.
Yeah.
He's part of the family. Got
That's
your
right.
coin, Patrick? Oh, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have said that. Mine's upstairs.
But it's still
And
within your vicinity.
I'm feeling
damn
much
it.
better, Dano.
Good,
Last
dude.
week was pretty rough, but a couple days of rest and doing the Dayquil, NyQuil routine for a couple days.
Yeah, you were starting to sound really bad by the end of the show last week. I wasn't feeling all too good either, but you know what I say.
Oh, he
No,
says
what do you say?
His coin's in hand, he
The
says.
show must go on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I say the other
crashing
one
tonight.
at the end of the night.
I'll probably be the next one sick. I feel a little rough all day. I'm sure it's coming.
Well, our friend Adam the Ant-Man, he wasn't looking too good when he was in Arizona, man.
oh man,
And that
was
last
terrible.
time I talked
Yeah.
to him, his eyes were all puffy and sounded like you know what. But apparently SoCal is treating his sinuses a lot better than the AZ.
I just watched
So-
his video. He's looking pretty spry. I won't go no farther than
Yeah.
that, but he's looking pretty spry.
Well, he goes there, and it's the bloom. You know?
Right. So.
Yeah. You know,
And where
everything
he
of-
came
and, you
from,
know,
it's frozen and ice and snow and and then he
well,
goes
you know,
to
anytime,
AZ.
anytime you go from where you're at, you know, you're used to.
Well, you got to
being
acclimate.
here,
You got to
you're
acclimate.
acclimated to this
Right.
area of the world, and you move to somewhere like that, which is totally different from where he's from.
Right.
You're gonna have a reaction. You know,
Oh,
some people
definitely.
have allergies. Some people get, sick in their stomach where they can't eat
Oh,
or
yeah.
drink anything.
Oh
You're just gonna have reactions. Not
Then
always
there's
the water,
culture shocks on top of that.
right?
It's like, and he'll find out what one thing might have meant in the Boston area doesn't quite necessarily mean the same thing in the Southern California area.
Oh yeah, it's
I've
different
come
language.
across that myself, I'd throw out a SoCal slang that's every day back home where I grew up, and some guys in Lynn, Mass, Lynn, City of Sin, never come out the way you went in. I'm evidence. But I about got my head jacked, man, and I'm like, whoa. Where I'm from, it means such and such. What does it mean here? Oh, no. I just wish Adam the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll get an update on him. You never know, he might even call in.
He might.
So, when we do open up the phone lines, but you have anything else to say before we bring in our guest?
Nope, I'm good.
You,
It's
Dano?
time. Nope, I think it's time for the guest. That's what it's about on here.
And that's right. Let's bring in Mr. Nugget Brain Wayne Peterson. How you doing,
Hey.
Wayne?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad everybody's here. I hope more people come in. get a chance, share this on Facebook or any other place you can right now and bring more people in. Let's have a big record tonight.
Yes, sir.
That's right. We're always pushing for that.
Oh, and speaking of records, with this new update thing for channels and stuff, all these guys in here who has channels, they need to get to 1,000 subs and a lot of views, PDQ, if they want to keep some of their privileges. So go to their channels and subscribe to them. So,
Oh man,
help! I've only got 100.
I don't think I got 50.
You broke 100 already, Dana. It only took you 3 years.
Help! I got 100. Help!
Oh, it took me forever just to break 1,000.
Yeah, big 100 subscriber giveaway. I'm there.
Oh, sorry about that, but Wayne, how long have you been prospecting? Treasure hunting.
I started prospecting in 1983 down in Stanton, Arizona. My uncle took me down there for a day, and I loved it so much. I've been doing it ever since. I've been treasure hunting since I was 9 years old. I found my first gold ring with a cheap metal detector, and I still have that metal detector, and I still have the ring.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, all kinds of treasures out there. People don't believe that they're treasure people, but they are. Everybody's a treasure hunter, and they don't even realize it.
Well, we had that shown to us. Who showed us that?
That was Hutton Pulitzer, I believe.
Right.
Wasn't it?
He talked about how we were all treasure hunters, and he proved it to us. And we go, yep. Yep.
Well, when you go to the swap meets on the weekends, you look for stuff. You go to garage sales, you go to secondhand stores, you walk down the street, you find things you like, and you travel. A lot of people go sightseeing or being a tourist, and they're a treasure seeker. That's, the simple part of it.
Right.
And if you go out, there's a story I tell every time I do a seminar somewhere. If you have a set of car keys, your car is particular to you. You picked out that type of car with those accessories and that type of car and that color and everything else. And then when you get it, you customize it, and that's your personal treasure. Another thing is everybody carries a wallet, or, the ladies carry a purse. And if they look in there, 90% of the people will have a picture of grandkids or their own children or whatever. We all do. So that's just a part of treasure hunting.
They are treasures.
So
definitely.
Your personal treasures. And I talked to a man here a couple weeks ago, and he says, well, I'm not a treasure hunter. Tell me, what a treasure hunter is. I said, what do you like to collect? He says, I don't collect anything. I said, really? Everybody collects something. And he goes, well, I do have about 100 ties. I said, right there, you're a treasure hunter. And I proved it to him. And he couldn't believe that he was a treasure hunter, and he seeks out ties. He has ties that worth $500-$600. He's got ties that are $5-$6. And I said, you're a treasure hunter. So everybody's a treasure hunter in their own way.
In one form or another, Yeah.
Exactly.
I look at rocks. I go to auctions. I go to flea markets. I go,
right.
Go up in the hills just to look around. And sometimes the treasure is not always something that you can put in your pocket either.
Right.
We can get all really philosophical about it and say, treasure just being out in the wilderness or going for that walk with your honey, or those are treasures also. But treasures that you can put in your pocket are a whole lot of fun.
Well, everybody carries a cell phone now. 90% of your cell phones do have a camera on there.
Right.
How many pictures do you take? It's a treasure.
Oh. Yeah, I take a lot.
I take a lot.
And then if you're a geocacher, treasure hunter. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. geocaching is one of our big things that we do with WATS. We
love it. Love it.
Yeah. In fact, here about 6 years ago, I gave a class to the Boy Scouts on geocaching and taught them how to use a GPS, and they actually got a merit badge. They had to find 5 geocaches. We did it in one day, and within a 10-mile area of where I live, because I wasn't going to drive 18 miles into town, within a 10-mile area of where I live, all the Boy Scouts found their geocache, and they all got their merit badges. So it's a big thing. Geocaching has been around now for about 8-9 years. It's really grown. You could go to geocache.com and you can get their website, and I'm sure you're going to have a whole bunch of geocaches in your area that you don't even know about. And you can walk by them every day and you don't see them.
I check my app on lunches during my jobs and see what's around, and a lot of times they're in cemeteries, so I go eat my lunch at a cemetery and walk around, look for a micro cache or something, and take off. Head back to the job site.
Cemetery?
It's a good place to put it. They don't mess with the graves or nothing. They put them on like the outskirts of the cemetery or by a tree.
Yeah, by a tree overlooking a brook.
Access is why they do it.
Okay,
right.
Gotcha.
But some of your geocaches around me here, there's some that are actually in military ammo boxes, and you trade things. Right. It'd be like Wayne said, a rock of sort of like I put quartz rocks in there or something and switch with something else. And one of them I actually put a flake of gold in a little vial in there, and somebody made a comment about it.
Judy and I had one in Kendrick's Woods and called it Danger's Treasure Trove. And I had some really good coins and tokens in there, and people would trade a Walking Liberty or something for a Weedy or for something that wasn't of equal value, a lot of. Right. And I just got sick of that and pulled it. Now, if people would have continued and, if they took a quarter, at least put a quarter in. If they took a Liberty, Walking Liberty at least, or a silver dollar or something, at least put a Sacagawea in or something.
Right. Well, the bad part about I see with geocaching, it's available to everyone, so the people that don't even geocache go out and look for it and they take it, they steal it. Right. Then the keeper of the caches either has to keep replacing it or give it up.
Right. Do what I did and pull it.
Right.
There was one geocache that it was many years ago, probably about 8-9 years ago, where a car dealer actually put a geocache out there. And I think it was in the state of Virginia, if I remember right. And he had people crisscrossing the state. You had to go and get a clue at the next geo, and then you had to go somewhere else. And they crisscrossed the state several times. And whoever found it won a car. And one guy found it. It took him almost a year. He went and he found a geocache. He found the box. In there was a title for the Porsche and the keys.
Wow.
And it was his car. And he didn't have to leave anything. So, but you'll find airplane tickets in them. You'll find adventures, hotels, coins. You name it, people leave it in there. And when you go on the geocache, you could register what you found, and it's asked that you move it. There's things that you move. There are regular geocaches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Travel bugs.
Right. The travel bugs. And
like that. Like Follow George?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Because I had one when me and Ed went to Cabela's to a meeting one time. I found one that was from California that made it all the way over here to the East Coast and was headed back, and I started it back from there.
When I went to Tahiti in 1996, we got to Denver Airport, and a lady came up to us and said, "Can you take this bear? Where are you going?" We said, "We're going to Tahiti." And she goes, "Well, can you take this bear with you to Tahiti?" And just put a little explanation in there. and then find somebody, you know, and give it to them. And we're trying to get this to go around the world. So we got to Tahiti, and we met some people from Texas that were staying at the same place we were. And we handed off the bear to them. We rode in there. We were on our honeymoon, and, you know, we were in Tahiti. And so they took it, and we were able to follow it because they had a deal in there. And we were able to follow it. We followed it for a year, and the bear actually made it around the world back to the original owner.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. That's cool.
Kind of like
That's,
Ray
you know,
Russo's flag, his Gold Hog
Right.
flag, kind of.
I don't
Sweet.
know.
So,
It didn't quite make it around the world, though.
No. Well, it
Yeah.
went to Australia and I think Scotland.
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe so. We'll have to get Ray on again sometime and talk about his traveling flag. But usually Jesse asks this. What was the scariest time you ever had out mining or exploring, treasure hunting in general?
treasure hunting in Superstition Mountains back in 1986, 87. We were looking for the DeGracias paintings, and we got driven in. We had to drive in about 30 miles, dropped off, and we had a deal with the guy to pick us up in 5 days at a certain time at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we got into the Superstition Mountains, and we hiked, and we set up camp. And then the next morning we got up early, about 6 o'clock, and hiked in some more and set up our final camp. That was our base camp. And we spread out from there. We were looking for the DeGracias paintings. And when we got into there, in the middle of the night, it was we picked a full moon night, so we didn't have to worry about flashlights or anything. So we're up there, and we had our rifles with us and our hunting licenses. And my buddy and I well, there was 3 of us, so 2 of us left camp and hiked in about half a mile. And we were sitting back to back, and we were looking for cougars or mountain lions or any kind of wildlife. And my buddy had this idea to start calling in an animal to see if we could see something come in, and if it would jump us, then we would shoot it. Well, nothing
Always a good
jumped
idea.
us. Yeah, nothing jumped us, but we're sitting there for about a half an hour calling, and we stopped, and we heard this rustling in the bush. And we both jumped up and started screaming and ran back to camp, and that was it. I mean, we had enough. It could have been a mountain lion or whatever. Another occasion was we went up to the Superstition Mountains. I lived right at the base of the mountain, and I had a house down there, and I used to go up exploring every Thursday was my day off, so one of my neighbors and I would always go up. And we went up into the Superstition Mountains, and we parked the vehicle. We knew exactly where we parked it. We parked it there several times. We climbed up. We went all the way up to the top. They call it the Flattron. We were up at the top. We were looking for an airplane up there that had crashed back in the 60s. And we found the airplane, but there was nothing left. All the good stuff was gone. So we started hiking back down, and it started raining. Monsoon rains in Arizona are just crazy. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening. It was early fall, and it was getting dark, and it was raining so hard we couldn't see. We walked all the way to the west, all the way to the east, trying to find a vehicle to wash it. We came down, and we knew what wash it was, so we found that wash, and we came down, and my vehicle wasn't there. Now, I'm about 5 miles from my house, and I'm going, what am I going to do? And my buddy and I were soaking wet. We had 3 flashlights each. They were dying. And I said, let's go back to this other wash that's right next to it. It looks just like this one. We went back to that wash, and we hiked down about another 50 feet, and there was my truck. Now, the reason why we didn't recognize the wash is because sometime during the day when we were up in the mountains, one of the ranchers came up and repaired the barbed wire. So we didn't realize that he repaired the barbed wire because we were looking for broken barbed wire, and the broken barbed wire wasn't there. So
yeah, I took your landmark away.
Yeah, it took our landmarks away. And by the time we got home, it was 10 o'clock at night, soaking wet. I mean, there wasn't a dry spot on us. And I mean, it was just, that was one of the scariest ones because we thought we'd have to walk all the way back home and then go and look for my vehicle the next day. I've been up in the mine shafts up in Stanton, Arizona. And when you get up inside some of those, I mean, you better make sure you got 3 or 4 flashlights with you, because when you get into some of those are pretty deep in, and you could lose a flashlight at any time. And, you know, it's happened a few times. So I always carry extra flashlights now. I'll have 5 or 6 flashlights in my pocket.
Oh, that's extra.
So
yeah, I've gone down in one mine in Nevada. That was just out of dumb dare when I was too stupid to know any better, you know, when I was younger.
So if there's any questions, I'm watching the chat line and I will try and answer any questions. I'll start out with this. I've been the president of WWATS going 5 years now, and we are a worldwide association. We do have members all over the world. We invite anybody to join. We have one of the most reasonable clubs to join. It's $36 for a 3-year membership. And you could go online on our website. It's WWATS.org, WWATS.org. You could sign up there. It's $36 for 3 years. This
that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, it gives you discounts on equipment. We have East Texas metal detectors down in Texas, and he offers up to 15% off on metal detectors and mining equipment. We also have other manufacturers that we're working with. They give anywhere from 5 to 20% off. We do a couple hunts a year. We have one coming up in June. It's June 29th, 30th, and July 1st in Mancos, Colorado. It is a metal detecting hunt. We have a scavenger hunt there, and you could do the scavenger hunt. We also have a bunch of people that go down to the river about 7 miles away, and you could do gold prospecting down there. And the cost on it's $135. But what's nice is when you become a WWATS member and you have a card, you get a discount. We give discounts on everything we do. We also have a hunt in October in Antlers, Oklahoma. And we don't have a date set for that one right now, but that's a big hunt. It's down at the K-Bar campground. We've been there for this will be our 19th or 20th year down there. And when we go down there, we have metal detecting hunts, and we do gold prospecting right there in the river and everything, the K River. And we also do many shows throughout the year. This last year we do the Durango, Colorado Gem Mineral Show, which is the weekend after July 4th here in Durango. We set up a booth. We have gold panning for the kids and adults. We teach people how to pan for gold. We talk about metal detecting and treasure hunting. We also did Moab this last year, and we have been invited to come back to Moab this next year. I believe it'll be in August or October. They haven't set a date on that yet. We will be at the Garrett Hunt in March. It's the middle of March down in Jefferson County. It's at it's Jefferson County, Texas. We have been invited by Garrett. We were there last year. This year we're going to go down and we're going to teach people how to treasure hunt and also how to pan for gold down there. But we do events all over. We go to schools, the local library up here where I live. I was there this last year. We did gold panning. They invited me back to come do gold panning, and we're going to be doing metal detecting with kids.
It's always great to do stuff like that with the kids. Get these kids involved in this metal detecting, prospecting, all the treasure huntings. Yeah, I've got to get the kids involved.
Well, we have to start them at an early age, because if we don't start them, we're going to lose them. So these are the things that WWATS does. Down at the Lions camp down in Texas, WWATS has been down there for years now. And what we do is we got a hold of Garrett years ago. Garrett gives us 6 metal detectors. And we set up the metal detectors, and the kids down at the camp. Now, these are all handicapped kids. Whatever their handicap is, a lot of them are in wheelchairs and everything else. And we actually teach the kids how to metal detect. We try to fill up a 5-gallon bucket every year of foreign coins. And they have an arena down there. They set up the arena, and they bury these coins, and the kids in the wheelchairs and crutches and whatever go out, and they use the Garrett metal detectors, and Garrett supplies them with enough batteries to last a year. At the end of the year, the counselors that were up there take the metal detectors back to where they came from. Many of them are in foreign countries, because they come and they learned how to work with the handicapped kids. So they take the metal detectors back, and they teach the kids in their countries or their areas with this. And Garrett has always been a big sponsor of ours.
Cool. Yeah, you got to get the youth involved, get them off their electronics and out in the woods and out in the water and playing in the dirt again.
Right.
We lost a lot of that.
Well, ever since my kids were in first grade all the way up until junior high, I would go to the schools every year and teach them how to pan for gold. Today, my son's 19. He's been out of school for 2 years. There's times that I'll walk through the school and people will come up and go, "Hey, you're Austin's dad. You taught me how to pan for gold." Or, "You're Aspen's dad. You taught me how to pan for gold in grade school or whatever." And when I do shows, I've been at the Gem and Mineral Show since 2004, teaching people how to pan for gold and treasure hunt and everything. And I still have people come in and say, they're already either married or getting married, or they have kids or grandkids. They say, "Man, you just keep coming back every year. And if we don't see you here, something's going to be wrong." So I guess I'm committed to going every year from now on.
That's a really cool feeling when someone comes up to you and says, "Hi, Coach," and you look at him and you go, "Man, that guy looks familiar, but I don't ever remember him as a guy." And I have a hard time with it, because most of the kids that I used to coach for come up to me now, and I don't recognize them because they've grown.
Right.
So I have to ask. Okay, obviously you were one of my football boys. Who are you? They go, "Oh, you don't remember me, Coach?" I said, "Well, I would remember you if you still look the way you used to, but you don't. You've grown up. It was 10, 15 years ago. I may still look old and, the same to you, but you don't look the same to me anymore. Because you're older, you're grown, you got kids." So but it's like the best feeling ever when someone comes up like that 2 years and goes, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" Just really enjoys seeing you again.
Right. Well, I was in Nome, Alaska in 2009, and I'm walking down the street in Nome, Alaska with a couple of the other people I was with. We were up there working at Alaska Gold Mining, and I had people yell across the street, "Hey, Nugget Brain." And I'm going, okay, I don't know them, but they know me. And, when you have the name Nugget Brain, I've had it since 1983. And people, yeah, it started in 1983. I'll tell the story here in a little bit how I got that name, but when you get the name Nugget Brain, it kind of sticks with you. And when you could be anywhere in the United States. I was in Ouray, Colorado this last year. My kids and I went up camping, and we're up in Ouray, and the guy walks up to me and he goes, "Are you that guy that was on TV?" And I says, "Yeah, what show?" He says, "Well, you're Nugget Brain, right?" And I says, "Well, yeah, it says that on my hat. See, just like this." And he goes, "Yeah, I seen you on that TV show. How was it?" I says, "We don't talk about that show." If that's the one you're referring to. He goes, "Oh, yeah, okay." So,
most of us here understand what goes on these shows, that's on TV and stuff, and a lot of it's just a lot of editing for drama and not what I want to watch, but it sells, so that's.
Well, the drama that's on there is just unbelievable. When you're on the show, when they're filming the show, they ask you the same question 5 times, expecting a different response.
Right.
And they seem to have a problem with me because I gave them the same response. I said, because listen, I'm a gold miner. I don't do drama. If you want drama, go over to the boys over in the Yukon or over somewhere else. I'm not doing drama. And they had a hard time understanding that.
Although it's not that they don't understand, it's just not what they want. They want the drama. That's what sells on TV. Let's face it. That's, but
drama
that's not
sells, exactly.
So we understand.
Well, it was a good experience. I've been on TV 5, 6 times, and that was the only time I ever had to deal with drama.
Yes.
And I just don't do it. I mean, real gold miners don't do drama. They get the job done. So
they're working. They ain't got time for that,
Right. From 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, you have a camera that followed me around, a sound crew, a cameraman, and a director and security. Each one of us had our own little group. I had 5 people that were with me. And they kept getting in the way. Every time you turn around, they're in my way. And I says, "Hey, I'm trying to get this job done. If you want to film it, stand over there, please." So they had a real hard time with me. So.
Yeah, so we understand that, and we understand why people will get on a show like that and all of a sudden, they're gone. Why are they gone? Well, 9 out of 10 times because of the drama. They don't want to be around that drama. I don't watch it because of that.
So it was an experience, and that's where it's at. So on treasure hunting, let's talk a little bit about the different things I've done.
Yeah, let's
do that. Yeah.
This last year, I made it quite obvious over the years up until this last year that I really don't care for metal detecting. WATS is not a metal detecting club. We're a treasure hunting club. So I made it quite clear to everybody I wasn't into metal detecting. This last year, we had a big hunt in Mancos, Colorado, and my son won a AT Gold Garrett metal detector. And it just happened to be Father's Day weekend, so he gave it to me for Father's Day gift because he won it and he already had a metal detector. My daughter has a Garrett also. So I started doing it with my son and my daughter. We go down to the local river here, which in Durango, Colorado is Animas River. It's one of the big hot spots for kayakers and rafters and outdoor people, these new wakeboarders and everything. So we started metal detecting up there this last year, and you go for a couple hours, get out of work or whatever. We'd grab our metal detectors and go, and we were hitting the river. And my son and my daughter have rafted and tubed down this river many times, so they know the different places that everybody stops. So we go and we metal detect those areas. To date, we have about 25 pairs of sunglasses Some of them range from anywhere from $25 to $300. We found a bunch of the $300 ones and a couple of the $250 ones. We also find handfuls of coins. Watch. We found a watch. In fact, we were up metal detecting this one spot, and the guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, you guys metal detecting?" And I looked at him and I go, "No, not really. We're just sweeping the ground, you know." He goes, "Well, I have something for you to go look for. I lost it at this area about 2 months ago." And I said, "What's that?" He says, "I lost a watch." And I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm not going to go looking for a Timex watch. And he says, "This watch is worth over $30,000. I said, "What?" He said, "It's an aviator watch. It's for airplane pilots. It's got a deal in there. If you get in that, you know, it's a satellite locating system." He says, "But I didn't kick it on because I didn't know I was going to lose it. But I lost it in the river," and he told us where it was. So I says, "Okay." And he said, "It's got a beacon in there. You push a button and it, you know, it'll call for help. And it's a regular aviator watch." He said, "It's over $30,000. I've already been paid by my insurance company. So if you could find it, it's yours to keep. It's waterproof and everything else." Well, my son and I spent the next 5 weeks in this rapid area that he said it was, looking for it. Now, there's one deep hole that we can't even get in today because it's just the water's moving so fast down there and the hole is deep. But while we're down there checking, we find sunglasses. And like I said, we found a Timex watch. And believe it or not, it's still ticking. It was ticking when we took it out of the water.
Claim to fame.
Right.
That's claim to fame.
We went farther down the river, and my son is down there with his metal detector, and he found a Gold Pro. It's called a Hero 3 in a case and everything else. And here, I got it right here. This is what he found in the river in the case. We took it out of the case, but works like brand new. And there was video on there, but the video didn't have anything saying whose it was or any pictures of any people. It was just somebody that looked like they were kayaking or tubing or whatever, and they dropped it in the water and lost it and probably didn't realize it, but it was in that same rapid system. About a week later, my son goes, "Well, let's go check the places that the people jump off the bridges at." And I says, "Okay." So we go over there, and he dove out in this one area, took my metal detector, my Garrett. He dove out, came back, and says, "Dad, it said a dime." And I said, he hands me the metal detector. I said, "Go get that damn dime and bring it up here." So he goes down and he gets the dime. And he comes back up and he swims over to me. I'm on the shore because the water's too cold for Daddy to get in anymore, and I didn't have a wetsuit on. He comes back and he hands me this. If you can see this, it's an 18-karat gold chain,
Nice.
men's rope chain. It's a 24-inch. It's stamped 18 karat. We got in the truck. If you go on my Facebook, you could see a picture of him smiling with it. He got out of the water. We went straight to the truck, and he was there shivering. And I said, "Let me get a picture." So we took a picture of him holding this necklace that he found in 8 foot deep of water. And he got on the internet because the internet's available. He got on the internet, and wholesale on it was $900.
Right.
So these are the kind of things that you could find in your local rivers. Yeah, we go fishing a lot. And the lake over here is called Vallecito Lake. And we're up there, and we were going to go up northern fishing one day. We go up to the lake. We're walking around. Well, the lake is third down. And where the northerns are is the water. There's no water. It's just dirt. The lake had dried up in that area. So I says, well, forget fishing. So we're walking around and we're looking for fishing lures. We came home with about 6 or 7 fishing lures, anywhere from $2 to $35. I found a fishing rod laying in the mud. The hook was still on the deal, so it must have fallen off a boat. They weren't using it. I found a fishing rod, a spinner. About 5 minutes later, he's walking, he finds one. And they both work beautifully. But we walked that whole area. We crisscrossed it twice, checking and just picking up. Those part of treasure hunting is like I'm trying to say. And these are the things that we do on our weekends off. We don't get many weekends off, but we go fishing. If fishing's bad, I walk along the shoreline and we pick up fishing lures out of the trees and the stumps and everything that people lose.
Mm.
And we play a game to see who could get the most in the day. So all you have to do is go out there and look.
Yep, that's treasure hunt, just going out and looking.
That stuff you'll remember forever.
Did you see the question in the room by Ronald? Shoot, I didn't copy it like I normally do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. What has been your best day prospecting like for almost the gold you found?
In 1985-86, a friend of mine was going to have surgery on his shoulder. He was getting a new rotator cuff put in. And he calls me up. He says, hey, listen, I got 30 days to go mining. In 35 days, I'm going to be in the hospital getting my rotator cuff. And I says, okay, where do you want to go? He says, well, let's go up to Stanton, because we're LDMA members. And he says, let's go up to Stanton, and that one spot that we talked to that old timer. Now, I've been going to Stanton since 1983. And I got to know a lot of old timers up in there. And there was a guy up in Yarnell, and he was a old miner. He was in his late 70s, early 80s. He had mined at the Octave mine when it was active. He started out there. And we had visited him about 3 months prior. And we went up there and we took some maps to him because we found out he was a dowser. He was a map dowser. So we took some maps up to the man, and we brought him up some food. We brought him up some bologna and some bread and other, staple items, and we traded him for map dowsing. Well, he dowsed an area just outside of Stanton, about a mile from there. He says, let's go check it out. So we took our high banker over there, and we got up there the first day. We started digging in the side of the mountain. Right where he said it was. I mean, it was just perfect coordinates that he gave us. We started digging into the side of the mountain. First day we had a few flakes and everything else, not very much. The next day we got in and we started digging, and we started digging hard. Well, by the 5th day, my buddy's shoulder was gone. He could not throw a pick or another shovel throw into the high banker. So I says, okay, I'm going to dig. So I just started digging. By the time we got done, we were in about 25 feet into the side of the mountain, 15 feet wide. And, it was probably 10, 15 feet high, the side of this hole that we were going into. In the middle of that hole was a nodule about the size of a big softball. And it was solid black sand with gold in it. When we hit that after about the 10th day, we did not stop. We were working from 7 o'clock in the morning till about 8, 9 o'clock at night till it got so dark we couldn't see. We had high bankers set up with 2 sluice boxes below it. They were loading up with black sand and gold. When we got done after 30 days of mining, we added up 22 ounces of gold out of that one hole. I think that was my best 30 days.
That's awesome. That makes it worth it.
Yeah. Now, I went back there about 10 years ago, and that you could still see the indent in the side of the mountain where we were, digging into, and you could still see the tailing piles laying on the ground. So if anybody wants to go up and find it, if you go up Antelope Creek towards Yarnell, you'll find my old hole. But it's pretty much filled in now. We took 22 ounces of gold. In fact, I took and I traded 2 gold nuggets for my Chevy Blazer, my 77 Chevy Blazer that I still own today and my son's driving now. So. Very
cool. Yeah, it's I have not found nothing like that, but I'm still looking.
It's out there.
I'm still looking. Even though I'm in Ohio, I'm still looking.
We're still looking for that baby head-sized nugget.
Yes, sir. It's here. I know it is.
Well,
Somewhere.
You have all that glacier gold up there. It's got to be there somewhere.
Well, in 1999, the two brothers found a big quartz gold specimen. The whole specimen weighed 10 pounds. Wow. And from what I heard, they were offered a significant amount. They said no. They crushed it and wish they would have took the offer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if it was that big, it would be worth getting into a museum or a gem and mineral club and put it on display for everybody to enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, but unfortunately
gold.
Right. Unfortunately, they pulverized it. So
yeah, it's a bummer. And people do that.
I'm going to find the next one.
Okay.
Well, I have an area that's possibly hidden in somewhere. One of them cracks in that river.
It's down there. You just got to find it.
Right. I just got to find which crack it is along that 35-mile stretch.
Start at the bottom and work your way up.
There you go.
But I've been dredging. Well, since 1983, I started dredging and high banking and all that. I have dredged in Stanton, Arizona, Bumblebee, Arizona, Mayer, and up here in Colorado. I had a claim over here in the San Miguel River, which is up by Natarita. It starts out in Telluride, Colorado, and goes all the way to the Dolores Confluence. And we used to go dredging over there. I had a claim, but the BLM decided that they were going to make it a historical area, so they ended up taking it back. I was lucky enough to get all my money back all the way to the day I started it, and all my fees and everything. But that claim there, bedrock was no more than 5 feet deep from the, overburden. And I would start about the end of July, beginning of August, and I'd go up for 3 or 4 days at a time. And we would average in a 4 to 5 day deal up there, we would average about 3/4 of an ounce of gold. But the bedrock that I was working was 4 feet deep. And what I did is I doused first we went and we panned the whole area, and we found the most gold. And that's where I started. Then I doused it, and it said it should be right here. So I started dredging there, and my hole was about 3 to 4 feet deep of overburden. As soon as I hit the bedrock, I would follow that bedrock up. And when I got done with my deal, I would take the big boulders that I pulled out of the hole, throw them back into the bottom of my hole that was clean all the way on the bedrock. I'd throw my big boulders back down in there. So next time when I go up, I could take and run my dredge on high speed, get down to where those big boulders were, and then slow my dredge down and pull those boulders out again and continue on up. And it was a lot easier. And then after about the 3rd year of doing this, I got this bright idea. I'll throw some big boulders down there, not as many, because I'm getting tired of lifting these out of the hole. I brought a chain link fence up there, 4 foot wide by about 10 feet long. And when I got done, I put my boulders down there and I threw my chain link fence down in the bottom on top of these boulders. And when I came back, all I had to do was put it on super high speed. I run a 4-inch keen, got down to the chain link fence, and then just moved it out of the way and then did all my bedrock. And, you know, you got 5 to 10 inches from the chain link fence down to the bedrock. And that's why I was finding my gold. And I just kept moving this hole all the way up. I went about 40 feet on this hole and about 15 feet wide. And I would do an area about 5-6 feet upriver and about 10 to 15 feet wide every time I went up there. And we were pulling 3/4 of an ounce out of that river. It's the hottest river in Colorado. But the state has taken most of all those claims that are up there now, which is a pretty sad thing because it's a good productive river.
Have you talked to Shannon Poe over at AMRA about that or anything?
I've talked to Shannon. When the BLM wanted to take the claims away, I got a hold of the state senator that's in this area, the congressman and the state representative, and also the Secretary of State. And there was nothing they could do about it, but they're the ones who made sure I got all my money back, including my filing fees and everything else the first time.
That's the best they could do for you, huh?
That was the best they can do. And now it's, they call it an acquired land. And you could use a sluice box there and a gold pan, but you got to go get a permit to use it there.
That's what they call the national forest here, Jesse. Wayne National and the ones on east of the Mississippi. They call it acquired lands, and they get away from that 1872 Mining Act stuff and whatnot. BS. Time for a rant, Jesse.
Go, Jesse.
He's usually our rant man, Wayne.
Well, you know, the BLM does good things, but they knew it was, mine was the first claim taken. That's the odd thing. And then within 2 months, they had taken about 30 claims along that river, and they're still attacking all those. Originally, Salazar was going to make it a real wild and scenic area, the whole river. But when I found out what Salazar was doing, I got hold of the state representative, the congressman, and the senator, and said, he can't do that. You have specifications, and these areas do not fall in these specifications. So they were able to stop Salazar on that one, but they ended up taking my claim about 3 years later. And they're taking all our areas. WATS does have 9 gold claims in the state of Colorado. We have quite a few up in the Silverton area. We have Animus, Mineral Creek, and Cement Creek. We also have claims on the Dolores River, and we have some claims up at the Fairplay. And when you become a member of WATS, you are allowed to use certain claims. Our Mineral Creek and our Cement Creek claims are open to our members only. You have to be a member in order to get permission to go on them. And then if you're a lifetime member, we do have a lifetime membership. It's $575 for a lifetime. And then you could use whatever claims we have. We have the 9 claims now. We're working on getting claims in Nevada and Arizona and possibly Utah, but we'll see what happens on the Utah one. We were going to go into New Mexico, but New Mexico, you have to file a year ahead of time, and you don't always get your paper in time, and it's not really worth it to go down to New Mexico. But it's very easy to use claims.
I think after this quick commercial break, I'll open up the phone lines and see if we could get this phone line hopping and get you some questions from some listeners, viewers. But let me take care of this and have a quick word from one of our sponsors, all right? We'll be right
Sounds
back.
great to me. Don't go anywhere. Come back.
Yep, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Adventure, mystery, discovery. Go panning is in the mystery of beauty rocks. Panning is a journey that can take you to amazing places all around the world. It's an experience for all ages, bringing families closer together and fulfilling a spark of excitement when life has grown too dull. The Gold Claw Pan makes it easier to take part in the journey than ever before. This expertly designed pan is made for any skill and any age. All you need is an explorer's heart and the passion for discovery. Begin your family's gold story now. Order your Gold Claw Pan today and see where the adventure takes you.
All right. That little portion of our show was brought to us by our friends at Gold Claw. I personally love the pan. It'd be nice if they could get the price down on it so everyone could have one. But,
Yeah, it is a little bit of expensive of a pan, but like you said, I think it's a good pan. I mean, I sure find it easier to clean the black sands out of my gold with that pan.
Gold works well.
I love the pocket pan too. Works great,
I mean,
and I have a good use for it also when I'm not using it. It's my change holder in my truck.
Well, Dennis Staten said it's good for sweet corn. Put your butter in there and put your sweet corn in and turn it.
Banana splits also.
Yeah, banana splits.
Banana splits.
It has multiple uses.
The multi-purpose pan.
Right, and the coolest thing about it is you can actually use that little pan to pour your gold into your glass vials. It works very well. He mentioned that one day on their show on GPS. I said, "Oh, so let me try that." I tried it. It's perfect. You don't even need a funnel or anything. It just
pour it right in.
Yeah, just stick that smooth corner, that smooth side.
Yeah.
Just stick that corner into your thing and just tap it, and it just all drops right in there. Just slides right.
Excellent.
Even that fine powder stuff, it all just goes right in. Really.
Yet another use.
Excellent. I think PD was saying, "Call into the show, Taz."
Also says, "Call Flash, David."
Yeah, can you imagine that, Bill? Ooh.
Unless he has call credit on Skype, so I don't know.
Don't know. I know.
Hey. Well, we had PD call in from Scotland once,
right.
So
They probably still paying for that phone call.
yeah, could be.
We do have a member. His name is Mr. McDonald. He's a world record holder. He has over 50 world records, both Guinness Book of World Records and Ripley's Believe It or Not. And you could go on my Facebook and you could find him on there. He built a ship, a full-size ship, out of popsicle sticks. Took him over 5 years. I think it was 5 tons of glue, and I forget how many popsicle sticks. But he built it with a bunch of school kids. And he will be coming to see us. He will be at the Garrett Hunt. I'm going to meet him down there. And then I'm going to take him out and show him some ghost towns and everything else that he's interested in. But he lives over in the Netherlands. And he is one of the prime ministers over there of treasure hunting. Right now he's looking for the, what do they call it? What's the big treasure? The Templar treasure.
Oh,
He's
okay.
out on the trail of the Templar, and he's pretty close. He's got some really good clues, and he always posts stuff about the Templar treasure on his website. So I'm looking for
hunting for the Templars, or where they bury their treasure.
The Templar treasures. They're all over Europe, and he's looking for those. And he's pretty close. He's got some really good stuff that he's found, evidence and coins and everything else. And I'm sure if you come down to the Garrett hunt, I'm sure he'll be talking about it down there.
It's kind of would be like the Knights of the Golden Circle type treasures here, huh?
Right.
It could be all over the South, you know. I could see Knights Templar having treasure all over the world, actually. So.
They say Oak Island too, but we ain't seen it.
Oh, a piece of wood and a coin or a button.
Piece of a lead cross.
Of course, I'm recording it tonight, so I'll watch it when I'm done here. But as usual, it'll probably be uneventful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's uneventful.
Well, let me tell you one of the treasures that I'm looking for. I have a pretty good idea where the Lost Dutchman's treasure is, Lost Dutchman mine down in the Superstition Mountains. I met a lady back in 91, 92 that knew Jacob Walsh as a young girl. She was 5 years old, and her mother owned a beauty salon in Wickenburg, Arizona. And Jacob Walsh would stay the night in the back room on a cot. And when she was 5 years old, he used to tell her about the gold and everything that he had. And he kind of gave her an indication of where it was. And I met her, and she was in her late 80s at the time. And she mapped out an area for me. It's unfortunate where it's at. I could only go there one day a month, if lucky, because otherwise I'd have people following me around on that one. I'm also looking for the DeGracias paintings. It's in the Superstition Mountains. You could look that one up. The newest one that I'm working on right now is the Fen treasure. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Fen treasure. It's somewhere north of Santa Fe, all the way up to the Canadian border. I have been out 6 times already with my 2 kids looking for it. There's actually 4 of us looking for it as a group. It's only worth $2.5 million if we find it, so it might not be worth it. But there's 2 gold nuggets in there, over £1 a piece. And that's the only thing we're going to keep out. My other partner, he will get one and I will get one, and then the rest of it we'll figure out what to do for it later. But the Fen treasure is out there. You could look up Forrest Fen on the internet, and there's a poem that you have to read. There's 9 clues in the poem. We've already solved 8 of those clues.
Oh.
And we have confirmation from Forrest himself that we are the closest. So we're just going to continue in the area that we're looking. And right now it's covered in probably 2 feet of snow, so we'll wait till early spring. So if anybody wants to try and put a GPS on my vehicle, good luck, because I got 6 of them here and I could change my vehicle every hour. So get a lot of GPSs.
There's a lot of people have been looking for that for a while now. And some people have died looking for it.
2 people have died, yes.
You know, I have a friend on Facebook who's been looking for it. He even takes his kids with him, little kids.
Right.
He thought he was close, but had to come home, tail tucked between his legs. So, yeah, it's one of those treasures. I mean, has anybody ever really seen it? Does he show a picture of it, or does he just talk about it in the book?
He's shown pictures of it. If you go on YouTube, they got all kinds of videos. You could listen to his talks and everything about it. It actually is out there. There has been confirmation that it is out there. He's not going to go and retrieve it. you know, a lot of people think he's going to go and retrieve it and, you know, call it off. The state police of New Mexico asked him to cease and desist it and go and take it because people are dying. Only 2 people have died. And it was not because it was an easy way to say it. It was their own stupidity.
Right.
Because if you read the clues, you know, people walk by it constantly. It's been confirmed that, you know, over 200 people have walked past it. Or
so
more.
you know it's not. So you know you don't need to climb up that cliff side to look for it.
Right.
You know?
And when Forrest buried this, he didn't bury it. He set it on top of the ground. He might have thrown some twigs over it or whatever, kind of disguise it a little bit. He never buried it. It's not in a mine shaft.
Right.
You know, he's been very clear on how he put it out there. But he was dying of cancer, and he wanted to leave something behind. So what he did is he got this chest. The chest alone is worth $35,000. It's a brown box it's in. It's 10 by 10 by 6. He loaded it up with coins, gold coins, silver coins, gems, minerals, 2 huge gold nuggets, 2 bracelets, and a whole bunch of other things that are in there. I don't remember them all. But he put it up there, but it took him 2 trips to deliver it to his spot. From where he parked, he had to carry 2 trips because it weighs 42 pounds. So he could only carry like 20 or 22 pounds at a time, he said. He was dying of cancer, and he's in remission now. But when he buried this, he was diagnosed with heavy doses of cancer. So that's why he went and did this. He wanted to leave a legacy behind. He wrote a book about it. The book is out there. You could order the book. I believe it's $35 for the book.
Hey, wait, we have a caller, our friend from Tasmania, Australia.
Awesome.
He's a fellow YouTuber, and he gets some really damn nice looking gold. David, how you doing, buddy?
I'm not too bad, Ed. How's yourself, mate?
Good, good. A lot better than last week, my friend. A lot better than last week.
No lie.
Sound too good? Help for you.
Come again?
You didn't sound very good last week. None of you did. You all sounded really sick. I really felt bad for you all.
Yeah, but
it wasn't fun, let me tell you.
No, but the show must go on.
You must go on.
You have a question for our guest tonight, buddy?
I do, but before I ask, I just wanted to say, really enjoying the show, Wayne. You sound like a very knowledgeable and experienced man. Yeah, really enjoying all the stories and everything. My question is, it's a hypothetical question. Does everyone know what a hypothetical means?
I don't know. They kicked me out of school, David.
There's no such thing as a hypothetical.
It's just pretend, you know?
Okay.
Okay. If you accidentally swallowed a gold nugget in your mouth and you swallowed it, how big would that nugget have to be for you to be bothered going through the waste at the other end to retrieve it?
Now,
get the strainer out, Mom.
Now let me tell you a story about that.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's a good story. Back in 1983, when I started mining for gold, I met an old gold miner. His name was Lou Cook. We called him one-legged Lou. He only had one leg because he lost the leg mining. So he says, "Kid, you want to find gold?" And I says, "Yeah, I want to find gold." He says, "Here." He gave me a 2-gram gold nugget. He said, "Swallow it." I said, what? He says, swallow that nugget. Tomorrow, get a gold pan, and when you go to the outhouse, poop in there, and all that gold's going to go in your body. Your body's going to absorb some of that gold, wash it off, and swallow it again, and do that for 1 month, and I guarantee you'll find gold. Well, I was 23 years old. I was a gringo. I didn't understand, but I did it. I did it for a month and a half. And do you know what? Ever since then, I've been finding gold. I don't swallow gold nuggets anymore, though. It's kind of hard to explain to people why you're walking around with a gold pan full of poop. It doesn't work that well.
The places
how many times sometimes swallow that?
Hey, what?
A month and a half.
Once a day?
Once a day. It recycles.
Hey, Wayne, you didn't answer.
What's that?
You didn't answer my question.
It was just a 2-gram nugget. I don't know how big it has to be.
2 grams.
Yeah.
2 grams.
But what about now? If you swallowed one now, how big would it have to be for you to be bothered looking for it again?
Well, the biggest nugget that I have in my possession right now is 5/8 of an ounce.
So if you swallowed that, you would look for it again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to get rid of it.
That might hurt coming out.
Nah.
Somebody's wondering, would you take that 2-gram nugget and swallow it again? And dig for it again?
Yeah, you wash it off and you dig for it the next day.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what he's wondering. Would you do it again?
Would you do it again now for a 2-gram nugget?
I would do it. Sure, I would do it. Why not?
There you go, Dave.
That'd be about a little over $100 you'd be pooping out. So yeah. There's some pretty golden crap.
Really appreciate you letting me call in like this, Ed.
Not a
really
problem.
Love your show. Thank you very much, Wayne.
I'm going to get you on sometime. You're going to be a guest sometime.
Moody, you know?
And that's okay.
I'm moody. I might bloody get on that day and be in a bad mood and not be able to answer questions and stuff.
Take some chill pills.
We'll chill you. We'll cheer you up, buddy. We'll cheer you up.
If you want to make us all happy up here, just send us gold nuggets. We like the Australian gold. It's nice, shiny. It's shinier than the United States. Gold nuggets. I do have a few of your gold nuggets in my collection that were sent to me, but I could always use more. If you want to send me a 1-ounce nugget, I will take pictures of it, me swallowing it, and me recirculating for the next day.
I'd do that for an ounce nugget, too. I'd be in there.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Do you have any gold from Tasmania?
No, I don't have any gold from Tasmania.
I've got a. I can't find any really big ones, but I've got a 1.78 gram one. I'll send it if you swallow it and do it.
I'll swallow it and do it. Take a picture of it.
Not of the extraction, just of the cleaning.
I'll take a picture of me swallowing it and cleaning it the next day. But I won't show the extraction point.
Yeah, no extraction point, please.
Bloody good. I don't want to see it.
There you go.
That's hilarious.
That'll go viral.
It would, too.
Sure it would.
Crap panning.
Yeah.
You'd have everybody panning their crap after that. Are you sure there's gold in it?
Dude, you know how many people would be doing that?
Hey,
We've started the Nugget Challenge.
when you're a
Nugget challenge.
But when you're a greenie at this and you don't know, and people tell you things, you do stupid things. I don't think it was so stupid because I've done pretty good at it. But a month and a half of eating the same nugget, you know, it didn't lose any weight, but I felt cold.
That's a true butt nugget.
Okay, next subject, please. TMI.
Yeah.
Excellent, David. Excellent. Thank you so much, David.
Leave it to the Taz, man.
Hey, Taz, I appreciate the call and hope to see you sometime soon. Come on up to the States. Unless I'm down in Tahiti on my sailboat, then you come over and visit me.
I do plan on coming over. I've communicated with Jeff Williams, and he said if I come over, he's thinking he might even come over to Tasmania and see me. But if he doesn't, I want to go there. Also want to see Ed and Victor Marshall. He said he'll hook up with me. And, there's so many people I want to see over there, but you're definitely on the list, mate. I'll love to catch up one day.
Yeah, come on up and I'll take you out dredging. I'll teach you how to dredge. I know you can't dredge in Australia, but I'll teach you how to dredge.
We're not allowed to dredge here, but I reckon I might have a bit of an idea how to do it.
Right. I'd be happy to teach you.
There's a way.
And what they see, they don't know.
Check into gravity dredging. You can use
I've sussed that out already.
Oh, okay, okay. There you go.
You're not allowed to do anything, but you know what they want to do? They want to tie your hands behind your back, and then they want to bloody wrap rope around your feet, and then tell you to go prospecting. That's how hard they make it here. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous how hard they make bloody the rules, you know?
It sounds like California and Vermont and other places.
They're trying hard to do that here too. I don't understand that.
And the reason, you know, they say, it's because of we don't want the rivers being silted up, and at the same time, the government is going around ripping out all the native forests and putting in these trees for wood chips, and they're silting up all the rivers and creeks. You know, it gives me the shit.
Oh, yeah, we deal with the same BS here. Bureaucrats.
Yep, bureaucrats.
Yeah. I've got a lot of respect for the law, and I try to be a good person, you know, but sometimes I think people got to ask themselves, they've got to say to themselves, who am I hurting? And if you're not hurting anyone, I don't know, some laws just don't make sense.
The two of you, please stop.
They try to please one person or one small group over the good of the whole. You know, we want to take care of this one guy who's afraid of that we're going to hurt a little fish, and so they stop everybody because that one person is concerned. People are so. We, as a species, are so arrogant, thinking that we can have any real effect on this planet. You know, if Mother Earth wants to shake the little gnats off her back, she'll just cause some kind of catastrophic problem, and she'll get rid of us and bring out another experiment.
Yep.
You know, that's all we are.
And
we're just an experiment.
What you could do, the amount of material you'd move in a lifetime with a dredge, it would be absolute pittance to what happens in one flood. It just, I've seen it happen.
Oh yeah.
It scours the whole river. It doesn't all make sense. They're making these stupid rules. I can't figure them out. Doesn't make sense to me.
On the West Coast here, Taz, they'll show us dead spawned out salmon and try and blame us. You know how salmon, they go upriver, they spawn and then they die, become eagle food, or bear food, the tree huggers and stuff, they'll take a picture of all those dead salmon And then they'll say, oh, it was because of dredgers.
Right.
Yeah.
The dredgers did
And
that.
the problem is people believe everything they read. And you got to look between the lines sometimes, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're having the same problems there we have here.
Yep. But I think one of the worst things for those salmon is the dams that they put in years and years ago, you know? I think that really stuffs them up, doesn't it?
Well, it does. That's why after they built the dams, they had to build ladders for the fish to be able to get past that dam. You know, they weren't thinking about that when they did the dam. They were only thinking about, you know, the water situation.
But then
they realized,
they're allowed.
Right. Yeah.
But only a very, very small percentage of the salmon that are running up those rivers make it through the ladders. Hardly any do.
Right. So, and here, the fish will go as far as they can. They'll spawn where they're at. They'll die. The new fish will be born. They'll swim back out in the ocean, and they'll come to that spot, regardless of, even though it's not what the traditional site was, because it's dammed up. The fish, again, we think that we can control Mother Nature. We are the stupidest species on this planet. We think we have that much control. You know, we don't. We don't have any control.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Know,
yeah,
okay, I'm done.
It's a good rant, my friend. It's a good rant.
Okay.
Well, you know, you always have an open invitation at our house here, David.
All right, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll see you later.
All right, man.
Hey,
thanks for calling in.
We'll do this again.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
We'll do. See ya.
Our friend and fellow prospector from down under, Tasmania, Gold Rush, Australia. He has some real good videos with some really good gold. Wayne, you should check out his videos sometime if you haven't already.
I did check out some once before, but I don't get on YouTube that much, but I will start checking them out again.
Oh, yeah, well, it's winter time for us, so this is what we do in the winter. YouTube.
Well, I do research during the winter months.
Yeah.
And then when summertime comes, I know what I'm going to go look for, where I'm going to. It gives me a better idea. 90% of your treasure hunting is research at home, libraries, microfiche, old magazines, you name it, it's out there. You got to take and you got to research it, and then 5% of it is actual finding it, and then the other 5% is getting so upset because you didn't find it. You got to go back and do your more research.
Oh yeah, it's all about research.
Right.
You know, it's all about it. So, I mean,
research, and research.
That's where it all starts.
And then you start researching.
That's where it all starts.
When you get out there and you do the research and you study it, just like the Fen treasure, we did 3 months of research on it before we even made our first attempt to go look for it. We had a pretty good idea where to look for it after we did our research. We headed up there. We checked it out. It's about a 4-hour drive from where I live in Durango. And met my buddy up there. He came down from Denver. It was about a 4-hour drive down from him. And we worked that whole area. And then we had confirmation back in, I think it was November of last year, that Fen had actually said we were the closest. So we know we're hot on the trail. There's about 50, 60,000 people looking for it right now. A lot of them are armchair people trying to figure it out, but they have to get out in the field and actually start looking, because you're not going to find it sitting in an armchair.
Oh no, you got to get your feet on the ground and out there, right?
Yep. Watts has a slogan.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground and shovels in the ground. That's the only way to do it. So, anybody else want to call in? I'm ready for questions.
Please, somebody call in.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't ask me about. Don't ask me about swallowing nuggets.
We'll let that lie.
We got 21 people watching and only a few people chatting in the chat room.
Well, I got 20 likes for 21 watching, so we're doing fairly well.
I know we do have people that watch that either can't sign into their account or don't have an account.
Oh,
so
that's right.
They can't chat if that's the case. So if that's the case, go sign up. It's really easy and become a subscriber today.
And click on the little bell, and every time you come on, it sends notification you're on the air.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Phone lines are open. Call on in. Put this phone line to use, brought to us by Bill Brewer at Carolina Prospectors.
Oh, it's just like talking on the phone, people. Just call in.
Oh, yeah.
Pretend you're talking to your girlfriend.
Yeah, Angelina says she isn't good talker. We're not good talkers either, so call in. We can not talk good together.
Yeah,
that is very true. Yeah, right.
We mess up constantly. We cuss every now and then. We forget the beat, but we still do it.
Or it's really delayed, damn it. Beep. No.
Yeah.
Call in.
Phone lines are open. Surprised Ronald hasn't called for a while.
John usually calls in, and he hasn't called in. Of course, I haven't seen him in the chat either. He must just be listening tonight.
He was here. He's having internet problems.
Yeah.
So, what kind of equipment you have for gold prospecting? I heard he's talking about dredging.
I got a 2.5 inch dredge, a 3 inch, a 4 inch, a 5 inch, 6 or 7 high bankers, different various models, spiral wheels, the gold cube, you name it. I probably got one. I could open up a store.
Yeah, yeah, I know the feeling. I'm slowly accumulating stuff myself.
I got a whole shed dedicated just to mining equipment. So dry washers, I have a puffer dry washer, a 151 Keen, and numerous buckets. You name it, I have it. I mean, I see something, I got to have it. I buy it. I try it. If I like it, I let people know. If I don't like it, I get a hold of the maker of it and just let them know what I would do to modify, if there's any modifications that could be done.
Right.
And, I get good response that way.
Oh, we have a caller. We have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name, Ronald? Where are you calling from?
I've been listening to you guys. This is Ronald.
Hey, is that Ronald?
Evening, Ron.
Just got my question. I was going to ask you, what is your favorite piece of equipment that you like using? Your number one go-to equipment that you use in the field?
My number one go-to in the field is a 4 inch Keen dredge. Because I like getting in the water, but the only problem is here in Colorado, it's late July, early August, and you can only go till about the second week of October because the water starts getting cold again. But mid-August, the water is very low, and it warms up quick. By noon, it's pretty warm, so you don't even need to wear a wetsuit. You just jump in with your jeans on and your boots and go at it. I have done diving. I am set up for full diving. I do have a full face mask that I wear and a wetsuit, but 9 times out of 10, I never even need it. I bring it, but I never use it.
And one other question I thought of. Have you had any problems with snakes?
With snakes?
No.
I let them swim by, and if they get close enough to my dredge nozzle, they get to go for a ride.
Up they go. That's right. Up they go.
Just pick them up and let them go.
Thank you for being on the show tonight, and thank you, Ed, for having such a great guest on there. And I appreciate Taz calling. That was awesome, Taz called in.
Yeah, it was. I'd love to have him as a guest sometime.
Yeah.
Well, I know Ronald gets on at least 3 times a day. He's got a live video that he puts on.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's on. And
I really walk to the post office.
Yeah, walking to the post office, or going outside and talking about the leaves falling on the ground.
Yep.
Ronald, we appreciate your videos. I know that because I got you clicked, and whenever you go on, the little bell goes off, and I get to click on. Sometimes I talk to you when I'm at work or whatever, but we enjoy your videos.
Sometimes I can't read the messages on the screen because the writing's way too small for me to read them and look at the video at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes I don't read all the messages or to comment on them, but I do see them, and I do try to follow up when I can.
Right.
But Ed, can I share my station or my website?
Yes, sir. I was just gonna say that. Give your radio show a shout out and your website.
I have a little radio station, earthradio.com, and it's the actual website that I created, and I'm on Mixler.com, but it's called Earth Radio, ERRT Radio, and on YouTube it's also called Earth Radio on the YouTube channel. So sometimes I'll log on to the wrong name on here, and I'll have to switch out because I don't have a little wrench on my other name, So I switch it back to Ronald so I can be a little wrench guy, But I have some other channels that I am able to share my station, and I don't share unless the owner of the YouTube channel that I'm on says, "Yeah, go ahead and share." I respect that.
I understand that, buddy. Put your URL in the room. You have the wrench of power. So you can do it, buddy.
Real easy, www.earthradio.com, ERRTradio.com. I always say it on my Facebook channel, and I'm doing my video. And I need more listeners. I need more subscribers on my YouTube channel so that I can get that built up. And I try to share everything about gold. I share people's websites on my website, and it's a channel that I try to use and get people to recognize other people that are in the business, for whatever equipment or whatever prospecting they're into. So I try to get the word out there. I try to share it to everybody, so not just, I'm not particular as to who I'm trying to reach or what I'm trying to do exactly on my website. I have a couple of things I'm involved with that I'm interested in, astronomy and gold. I think astronomy and gold kind of go together in a way, science and gold. And that's a whole other chapter that we can talk about. but just, as an example, I just think that, if you read the stars, you can find the gold. That's my idea. So, but anyway. But I enjoy having the guests, and I'm allowed to share on there, and I enjoy sharing people's ability and talent and their interests. And if it can get somebody's interest in gold prospecting, then I've done my job.
Excellent, brother. Excellent. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you again for having the show, and we'll talk to you later. And thanks for sharing Adam Antman's journey as well. That's really cool.
You're welcome. We'll have some more updates.
Yeah, he's still out there.
All right, thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Ronald.
Thank you, Ronald. Excellent. All right, phone lines are back open. So now if you want to call Hook, go for it.
I can't believe you had to talk him into calling.
Yeah, I know. I hear you, huh?
Let me give somebody, everybody out there that's listening, in the future watching this video, you could start today or tomorrow treasure hunting. Every time you walk through a parking lot, every street you walk down, look in your own driveway. Look down, don't look out. The 1 year, about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I started collecting all the coins and everything that I find laying on the ground, mainly coins. My first year, I picked up $106.72 just in coins and paper money that I found. Ever since then, I've been collecting it.
And that's without swinging, huh?
That's without swinging a metal detector. I walk through parking lots and I'll find a penny, nickel, dime, quarter, whatever on the ground. And the first thing I do is I turn to my kids and I said, see, my daughter has a fit with me because I have these jars of coins. She goes, what are you going to do with them? I said, when I die, you do whatever you want with them. I want to see how many I could get. But I pick up coins and cell phones. I think I found 10 cell phones last year.
Wow.
So they're out there. Just pick them up and put them in a jar.
Well, we have another caller on the line. Hey, Hook, how you doing? Could you do me a favor and either turn off your volume right now? Because I'm getting feedback.
Yep, I can hear it.
Yeah, I'm working on that. All right. It's down now. Is that better?
Much better. Thank you. How you doing tonight, Jonathan, a.k.a. Hook?
Evening, Hook.
Yes, I am doing awesome. Tonight's been an awesome show, by the way, and thank you, Taz, for calling in when you did. But I'm telling you, out there, you just talking, your favorite piece of equipment is a 4-inch dredge. Is that right, Nugget Brain
Yes.
there?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, what is the legal limit there for dredge with handheld nozzle? Because I've seen several things in postings and in the handbooks.
In the state of Colorado, it's a 4-inch dredge. And that's 4-inch nozzle with a 4-inch hose. In the state of Wyoming, it is, you could have as big as nozzle as you want, but your hose could only be 3 inches in diameter. And the same with Arizona.
Yeah, I do that with those two states. It just, with everything floating around at the moment where you're at, it just, I wasn't quite sure because I've seen where some places only allow up to 3-inch, and just curiosity. I got a trike I'm building. I want to build a trailer, and I want to have a dredge that's ready to run across this country. So,
right. Yeah, it's 4-inch in the state of Colorado, and you find out what the local BLM office is for that district. You go in there, and they give you a form, and you fill it out, and you answer a few questions on there, and always put the least amount of information on it, like how much material you're going to move in a day. With a 4-inch dredge, I put down 2 yards a day.
Right, right.
Even though I know I could move more than 2 yards a day. When I was in Fairbanks, Alaska in 2010, I was moving between 8 and 9 yards a day with a 4-inch dredge.
Now, also, I've been told, and what I've seen, they've got a restriction on there. If you're coming across from a different, pretty much timeline, you have, because there's different plants that grow in the water, do you have to strip your dredge before you take it there?
No, I never heard of that one.
I know up in Oregon, if you take a dredge from Indiana, it has to be treated, certificate, signed, everything a bunch of information saying that it's been treated so there would not be no, and this was a few years back before, you know, they stopped people from dredging, but I thought it was like that in Colorado too, where you could not have or take the chance of a different species of plant or whatever growing.
Yeah, they call that invasive here,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
mainly the clams, and that's on boats. When any
Okay.
lake now in Colorado, you pull a boat up and they take and they hit it with a little bit of bleach and a hot sea pressure washer, and they wash the boat, and then they give you permission to go into the lake.
Yeah, I just know someone that's went there here in the last year, and they was actually told that if they're, which they already had their whole dredge saran wrapped, and they had a video showing where they sprayed it down, cleaned it out and everything, and they said that it had not been used in 30 days and they had no issues. So I was just asking.
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that in Colorado. It'd be something to look into, and maybe I could find out about it. But I've never heard about anything like that.
I definitely, I'm going to be doing everything I can across the country this year as much as possible in all directions from Indiana, because that's where I'm at. And I've got several properties to prospect, but I want to branch out, and because this is what I do for my life. So,
right. Well, when you get into Colorado, go on the website. You can get my phone number off of there, or email me and let me know when you're coming in, and I'll see what I can do, and I'll be happy to take you up to one of the claims and show you how to do it up here. Colorado is a lot different than anywhere else. So,
Huck, you're going to be too busy this summer. You're going to be too busy
I'm hoping I'm too busy. That's the,
you know.
Hey, that's the trick. That's what I want to be. I want to be too busy. I want to actually have to write stuff down. You know what I'm saying? Jess, Dano, and Ed, everybody. I want to be able to write stuff down, not know that I got it all in my mind. I want to know I'm confused or something. I don't know if that makes sense, but definitely thank you for answering my questions tonight, because I'm definitely I want to head out west. I want to get with Dan Zoller and all them guys out there. I'm putting a trailer hitch on my trike, and I want to have a dredge and meet all qualifications across the states. Plus, I want to have hand stuff I can use once I get to the West Coast, because, you know, you're not even allowed to get a straw from nobody out there anymore. So,
right.
But oh yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
They can't offer you one.
But you know, I just want to make a straw. I just want to make sure that when I cross through the Midwest and the West this year, because I'm definitely shooting for that. That's one of my big things for this year, and I just want to try to keep things as smooth as possible all the way across and back, and hopefully give a lot of people some good information and videos as I do it. So that was my main reason. I'll definitely contact you. I've seen several of your videos, so I definitely got you locked in there.
Okay. If you need any equipment, I get a hold of Pat Keene at Keene Engineering, and just tell him that Nugget Brain sent you, and I'm sure he'll dial you in with everything you need. Also, if you don't have a Gold Cube, they're awesome machines, good for cleanups and easy to use.
Well, I'll tell you, Pat and Mark Keene both know who I am well, and yes, I do have a Gold Cube, and I'm like you, I've got a little bit of everything. I got trommels, all of it, and I just want to, when I go across this country, I want to take everything I can to do all I can in prospecting, and hope to meet up with everybody in Amber, because I'll tell you what, they're just waking some stuff up. So,
Well, I'm a state representative here in Colorado for AMRA. I'll be overseeing all their claims in the southwest corner or the south part of the state, from probably like Fair Play on down this way. I'll be taking care of all their claims down here. And so I plan on getting out an awful lot this summer. And we do have some claims up in Silverton, and I'll be up there. And Shannon Poe's actually going to come out this summer, and we're going to do some dredging together. So, and anybody interested in gold mining or metal detecting or treasure hunting, contact me. Give me at least a month leeway if you're coming to Colorado, and let me know, and I'll be happy to hook up with you or dial you in somewhere. And if I'm going out for a weekend, you're welcome to come. The things that I've done in the past is if I take my dredge out, I take my 4-inch dredge out or my high bankers, I let you use it for 1 hour. All I do is ask you to put the gas in that you use, because gas is expensive. So I ask people to refuel it, but I'll let you use it for an hour, and whatever you find in there, it's all yours to keep. Whatever gold you find or minerals or anything else, it's yours to keep.
Well, if you ever head this way, let me tell you, in Indiana, contact me. I got your hookup. But I'm going to tell you straight up, and all of us, let's all keep working together. And like I said, I've seen several of your videos. I like them. I like it. So on my way out that way, I'm sure you will get contacted from me to you. And also on Facebook, I'm under Hookmeister Prospecting and Outdoors, and you can contact me if you ever head this way. So
okay.
Ed and everybody's got my number. So, and you can run up to a 6-inch here or a 5-inch at the nozzle, but it can go as big or bigger after that, and I've got that covered for you.
Okay.
So, all right. And I'm going to free up the lines. Everybody, thank you. Ed, Dano, everybody, Jesse, all of you guys. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're rocking on, buddy. You're rocking.
Easy,
you guys are doing awesome.
Yeah,
hope to see you this spring, brother.
We're definitely going to see you this summer.
Hope to see you this spring, bright and early.
Can't wait. Hey, I tell you what, I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Y'all just come over and just have a good time, and everybody's welcome. Just give me a call or look me up on Facebook, Hookmeister Prospecting Outdoors. Y'all take care. Bye.
Thanks for calling in. No, I don't have a heater because I wear a 7 mil wetsuit. And a 7 mil is more than efficient. When I was in Fairbanks, Alaska in 2010, I was able to dredge all the way up until about the first week of September, and then I had to get out of there. But the water was pretty warm with the 7 mil wetsuit on. And I always go with 2 wetsuits. I have one in camp drying and one on, and then I switch back and forth every day. No heaters for me. That'd be spoiling myself. We're working on. Yeah, we're working on getting claims over there. We're looking north of Lake Powell area. I'm trying to find things that are no more than 6 hours drive for me, so I don't have to be, it'd be great to have some claims over in Oregon or California, but I couldn't get over there and check on them. So I'm looking at no more than 5-6 hour drive from my area here, even though the claims we're looking at in Arizona are in the Rich Hill area. And I have our vice president lives down that area, so he could check on those. We're trying to get claims where we have people that could check on them. If anybody's interested in becoming a representative for WATS, a state representative, just contact me on Facebook or on the WATS website. My email address is on there. And let's talk. And if anybody has claims out there, we have a real good deal. If you have some good claims that have gold or minerals or anything else on them, if you allow us to use those claims for our organization, we give you a lifetime membership as long as we have use of those claims.
Okay.
And we have a couple people right now that are doing that. Well, we trade out the use of the claims for a lifetime membership as long as we have the use.
Okay. Now, Ronald forgot to ask a question when he was calling in. He says, Nugget Brain, I forgot to ask, were you at the Lost Wages show last year?
Yeah, I responded back. No, I didn't go.
Okay. I didn't see it in chat. I have my eyes on a few things on my end playing engineer, I guess you could call it, kind of, sort of.
Is that what you're playing?
I guess.
I thought you just sat back and let us do all the work.
I see Jack made it.
We have Brian's, I think it's Brian's prospecting partner in the room, Mad Jack from Ice Cold Gold in the house. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have the president of any latecomers. We have the president of WATS, Worldwide Association of Treasure Hunters, with us tonight. Many of you know him as Nugget Brain, Wayne Nugget Brain Peterson. And it's a good time to take my last quick commercial break. And I'll be opening up the phone lines again after that. So just give me a second. Well, a few seconds. And we'll be right back. Sound good, guys?
Sounds great.
All right.
I'll be here.
Hang on. We'll be right back.
Mute.
What? Mute? Well, I'm glad you got Rekstad Man's message, Jack, and I'm glad you're here joining us. And all the phone lines are back up open again. Please, let's get this phone hopping.
I'm glad Jack made it. I hadn't talked to Jack in a long time till just the other day. I'm glad he made it. Glad to see you here, Jack.
So am I. Dana was talking about it, and
pretty excited I found him again.
Okay, on the chat room, I put my...
Why not? I can lie as good as anyone, he says.
I put my email address on the chat room. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, you're coming to Colorado, give me about a month ahead of time, because you know when you're coming, and we'll see what we could set up for you. And I might be in Arizona or somewhere else, and I could let you know where I'll be at that area down there.
Excellent.
Very cool. That'd be Nugget Brain 1 at msn.com.
I gotta write that down.
I'm always happy to take people out. I do advertise locally here in the newspaper and magazines. If people are coming in, tourists, and they want to learn how to pan for gold, I set up a deal where I meet them down at the river for a day. I supply them with a couple of gold pans and sniffer bottles and teach them the basics of gold panning, and I enjoy doing that. And then they go back home and they tell all their friends. So might as well.
They tell two friends, and they tell two friends.
That's right.
Well, if I'm ever in Colorado, I'll definitely look you up in the Southwest part of the state. I'll definitely look you up.
Well, the Hoffmans are right up here in Colorado. They're mining up here, and I will be visiting them this summer. I've already got an invitation from Todd to come up and visit and spend a day or two up there while they're filming and everything. So, but they're here in Colorado.
So you plan on having another appearance on the show?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
See how much.
As long as it isn't that drama queen and his son, I'll be on any show. As long as I don't have to do drama.
Which drama queen? I thought they were all drama queens up there.
Well, those were the two worst. Those were the two worst.
I guess they like that stuff, you know. One's been on it for how many years has that been running? Jeez.
Well, the Hoffmans have been on there since the beginning. They're the ones who started it, basically.
Right. Tom Selling himself.
Right.
Or
and then the kid on there, I mean, I met him when I was up there. He's a pretty good kid, but what I see on the drama is not what he was in real life. So he was a lot better than the drama queen.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
So let's get some more calls going.
I had a question in my head, and I looked away.
I blinked.
Hey, look, squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel, yep, squirrel.
All right, phone lines are open. Please call in. Ask Wayne a question. And
always enjoy the
any kind of treasure stories. If you're looking for a treasure, maybe I could steer you in the right direction, what to look for. There's a bunch of big treasures down in the Caballos, down in southern New Mexico, if anybody's ever heard of the Caballos. I know several people right now that are doing their homework, and I've been invited to go down and check out the Caballos. It's one of the 7 cities of gold down in that area. So it's something to check into. Treasure hunting is out there. If you go on the internet and just put treasures of Colorado or treasures of your state, usually you'll find anywhere from 15 to 20 listed in there of treasures, and some of them are just stories, but it takes research to find out.
Right. Yeah, I did that here in Ohio, looking for lost or stolen treasures.
Right.
And I was really surprised how many there are just here in Ohio, dating back to the Civil War into the 30s and 40s with bank robberies and stuff. Where gold, or not necessarily gold, but the loot disappeared.
Right.
So, yeah, those are always fun to look at.
You have the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid treasures out there. You know, all the big names are out there. Oklahoma's loaded with them. There's a lot of them here in Colorado. There's saddlebags between here and Silverton, Colorado. There's 60 saddlebags that were in a wagon. They're saddlebag size. They weren't saddlebags, but they were burlap bags of high-grade ore that mysteriously got lost when the wagon crashed. Up near Denver, there was a story years ago, and I verified this one. There was 2 kegs of mercury, or 2 kegs of dimes, silver dimes, that fell off a wagon as it went off the cliff. Some of the dimes have been recovered, but not all of them. And I know somebody that goes up there every year, and he doesn't say how many he found or if he found any, but a true treasure hunter never tells the story.
Right.
You don't, you know, if I find Fen treasure, I'm not going to publicize it.
Well, and that's why some people think it's already been found.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been found because there is a note inside there where if you do find it, to send back one of those bracelets back to Fen so he could verify if it's been found or not.
Huh.
He's not going to go out and check and see if it's there, obviously, because you know they do GPSs on people's cars. But that is one of the questions in there. And then there's another note in there to contact him. He doesn't want to know who you are, just to let him know that it's been found. So we know it has that way.
Oh, well, okay. I'm just saying that some people are saying that it's been found already. They're just not saying it. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to tell anybody either.
Well, if my partner and I and my kids have already talked about it. If we do find it, we won't publicize it, but we will let Fen know. And then when it's the proper time, after we get all the logistics covered, then it'll be disclosed that it was found, but not necessarily by us.
Right, just that it was found.
Right, that it was found, so everybody can discontinue the search. But that's just something that we talked about. And if we do find it, let's say I find it here in Durango, Colorado. Now, it's nowhere near Durango, but if you want to come and look, knock your socks. But let's say I do find it in Durango, Colorado. What I would do is I would get a hold of the city council or the historical museum or something here in town and say, I want to put this on public display for all to see, but I don't want anybody to know that I found it or who found it. And I believe it an anonymous donor for up to 1 year, that it would be on display to help tourism in that town or in that area, bring people in. And that's something that we've already talked about doing.
We have another question from Brian from American Gold Prospectors. He's in Mass and Dredge's Maine and whatnot. He's like, is it much harder to dredge at high altitudes?
I don't know. I live at a high altitude.
Good point.
Well, the problem would be, I imagine if you have air, if you're, underwater, it wouldn't be too bad, because that's the problem with high altitude is their lack of oxygen. So. Right.
Well, when you're running air on your compressor takes the air from the outside, compresses it and gives it to you. I used to do outings here in Colorado on my claim, and at one time I had 52 people show up from Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and a few other states came in. We had 52 people. And if you're only going to be here for up to a week, it really doesn't affect you until about the 4th or 5th day. But by then you're so tired because you've been digging so much, you don't realize it. But the high altitude, in Durango here, we're at 6,500 feet. If you go to Silverton, Colorado, it's about 9,000 feet. I feel it when I'm up there working, but I only try to put 4 or 5 hours a day in on a dredge just so I don't burn myself out. Now, when I was in Fairbanks, Alaska, I don't know what the elevation was there. I was able to go 12, 13 hours a day running a dredge. But when I live at 6,200 feet and whatever Fairbanks is, it must have been a lot lower because I had a lot of energy. So,
Mad Jack from Ice Cold Gold, J Duggs, said, he was talking to his partner, Brian. Sorry.
What, you done a conversation, are you?
Yeah. Oh,
Tell you what I noticed
my job
I
ain't
drank a lot
watching
more
the room.
water.
That's Dano's, huh?
When I was at altitude, I noticed I drank a lot more water. I needed a lot more water when I was at 10,000 feet.
yeah, you get your tendency to drink a lot more water because you get dehydrated up here.
Yeah, and you don't sweat. I noticed I didn't sweat either.
Right, you don't sweat in Colorado. We have very low humidity here.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem when I was living in Idaho Springs with that. Well, I did at first, but after a couple of months, I was okay. I was running around up in the mountains and stuff. And so
Right.
you just got to get acclimated. In fact, you know that if you have a car, like from Ohio or anywhere in the lower elevations, and you drive up to those elevations, you have to do another tune-up. You have to do a high-altitude tune-up to your vehicle.
I'm glad I had a rental car when I went to Pikes Peak, though.
That was when I was in Idaho Springs. I worked in a garage, auto shop, and the biggest problem we had was tourists driving up into the mountains and couldn't figure out why their cars weren't running right anymore. And Bob, my boss, went and he just made a few adjustments to it, and
voila.
I believe that.
Took care of the problem, and he charged them too, boy.
Well, the easiest way to tune up your car nowadays, everybody has computerized cars and everything. I was an auto mechanic at one time. I spent 4 years at a great college learning it. But when you get up into a high altitude, what you do is you disconnect your battery for about 20 minutes, reconnect it, start up the car, and it dials in on your, because you have all kinds of gauges on your car and everything, and altitude and all that, so it picks up the new altitude. That's all you have to do is just disconnect your battery and then reconnect it. Give it
Yeah, I
about
was a
20
mechanic
minutes.
too, but I was a mechanic pre-computers.
Right. Yeah, that's
70 Volkswagens and stuff like that.
right. But nowadays cars just disconnect your battery and reconnect it, and the altitude gauge in there, the sensor will pick it up and readjust your car for you. The only problem is when you get back to where you're going, you got to do the same thing.
Right. That was like I said, that was the biggest breakdowns that we had. People driving up in the mountains and cars not running. They couldn't, no power, and Bob would get in there and tinker, and off they go.
Right.
$800 bill.
And if you do come to Colorado, and you got an ATV or an RTV or anything like that, make sure you have a EFI system on there. Otherwise, you're going to be rejetting for the altitudes up here because you will burn up your motor.
Yeah.
Well, we have a call.
Automatically adjusts.
We have another caller on the line. Wayne, this guy's our good friend, Pirate PD from Scotland. How you doing tonight, PD?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Ed. How are you guys? How are you?
Hey, Pirate Treasure, how you doing tonight?
Evening, PD.
Good evening.
Good.
Hey, Daniel. Oh, Wayne, how you doing? Wayne, I was wanting to know, I'll speak slowly so that everybody can understand me.
Oh, good idea.
Wayne, I've dredged for about the last 5 years, supposedly, anonymously. Can you tell me why you don't use a dry suit? Because my personal experience of wetsuits in Scotland, they don't really work that well. In fact, they don't work at all. Once you're cold, you're cold. Do you have that same experience, or is that why you take 2 wetsuits so you can change?
Well, I always have 2 wetsuits, one on and one drying for the next day. As far as a dry suit, the problem is here with the sharp rocks and everything, a wetsuit's awful expensive. It's about 3 times the cost of a wetsuit. A dry suit's about 3 times the cost. And if you get a little tear in there, you got a wetsuit on at that time. So,
Yep, you're right. That's happened. That's happened to me more than once, more than twice, actually, more than a few times. I've had a right cuff seal go, got that fixed, went back in the water, I had a neck seal blow, got that fixed. But now you can imagine being down in the bottom of a river, right, when you've got maybe 90 to 100 pounds of weight on you, because that's what you need. And you're down in the bottom and you get bang, the cuff seal goes, you're in a world of pain, man. You're in a world of pain. You can't breathe because it's so cold. And by the time you get out, that's sure you just want to go home.
right.
So when the dry suits fail, it's bad. But you can get stuff called Bering Sea goo. You know, the stuff that they use up in Nome, Alaska, that white 3M, it's a kind of glue, adhesive stuff.
Right.
I cover my dry suit in that, and I know what you're talking about with cutting it in rocks and stuff like that. But I use a Cordura dry suit, which is really, really hard. I've had a 7mm Northern Diver neoprene wetsuit. I slid over at the top of a rock and it split my ass. It gave me a 2-inch gash in the suit, and it was a bad one. It was a bad one for me. So after that, I decided, you see your dry suit, if it goes wrong, you can basically glue it back together pretty quickly. If it goes, right. My dry suit can stand up itself. There's so much glue inside it.
Yeah, I've never tried a dry suit for dredging. When I became a certified diver back in the 70s, we used dry suits for diving in Illinois because the water was so cold. But I found that a wetsuit, if you get a thing, it's called Skins, Skins. I know you could order them through dive shops, and it's like a thermal underwear type thing. You put those on, and then you put your wetsuit on top of it. And another thing it really makes it slide off real easy, because, you know, if you got a wetsuit on, they're hard to get off. But if you got these skins on, it's just like wearing thermal underwear. It gives you that extra layer. So a 7mm becomes like a 10mm if you got the skins on.
Plus, it works like a rash guard, too, so you don't get nasty wetsuit rashes.
The only way you're going to get wetsuit rash is if you go pee-pee in your wetsuit.
Save that for suffering, man.
And it never fails. You get the wetsuit on, you get to the edge of the water to get ready to go in, and guess what? You're going back up the shore, peeling off the wetsuit. It never fails.
Do you pee in your wetsuit?
I don't know, because I know about the rash.
Okay. Well, that's what I was just phoning in to find out. I think we've heard enough about your orifices tonight, definitely. It's been fun. You've been a great guest, Wayne. I've really enjoyed listening to you, man. You've got some really good stories. Brilliant. I'm going to sign off now. Daniel, Jess, Ed, I'm going to sign off. But anyway, I'm not going to sign off. I'm going to keep listening to the show. This guy's great.
Thank you.
You're over on what we call the other side of the pond. Get a hold of Ronald McDonald. His name is Ronald, and it's McDonald. He's on Facebook. He's a big treasure hunter. He's all over Scotland all the time, and France and Perry and a whole bunch of other places. I would like you to get a hold of him and communicate with him. He's the one I was talking about, built that full-size ship out of popsicle sticks.
Right.
And I think he would help you a lot. He doesn't know a lot about dredging, but when he gets here next month, he's going to learn a lot about gold prospecting. But he does lots of metal detecting and lots of treasure hunting. And I think he'd find you quite interesting.
That's great. That's great. I'll certainly look him up. You know, I've not got Facebook, but if he's got a YouTube channel, I'll certainly look him up. You know. Definitely.
Yeah, he's on YouTube also. You could find him on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Wayne, mate. You're a star. Cheers. Right. You have a great night, and everybody have a great night listening. It's really late here, man. It's like oh gosh, 20 past 3 in the morning. But it's worth staying up, you know. As I can't get to do it all the time, but when I do, I love it. Guys, I'm going to go and let somebody else call in. Come on, some of you American guys, lift that phone, make your presence known, and get on the phone. That's it. See you later. Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Excellent, PD. Thanks, brother.
Yep.
All right, our friend
to
PD
get out
from
here.
Scotland. He was on one of my Across the Pond specials.
Right.
Had a really good time with old PD. It's a great guy. Thank you for staying up so late or so early. Depending how you look at it. And thank you for calling in. Reaching globally the gold prospecting and small-scale mining community. All right, phone lines are back open. Come on.
Come on.
Dang you, bud. Sitting here talking and no one's listening.
That happens.
So while you're waiting, let me tell you a story about the Superstition Mountains that not many people know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back in 1969, 3 guys, 2 brothers and a friend, went hiking in the Superstition Mountains outside of Apache Junction, Arizona. And they went up to the top of the mountain, which is called the Flattron. And they were up there and a rainstorm started. So they scaled down the side of the mountain and they got into this big area. And if you look on any of the photos, you'll see it. It looks like a half a moon up there. It's a big cave area. These guys were sitting up inside the cave. The rain was coming down so hard, and they were backed up almost all the way back into it. And they're sitting there looking, and they're watching the rain come down, but the rain wasn't coming into where they were, but there was a big indent to their left, sitting looking out. So they said, we got to check this out. So they started digging down because it was raining so hard. They got down about 4 feet, and all the dirt was soft. So they came back the next day with shovels, picks, and items of destruction. And they went back over there and they started digging. And they dug down about 20 feet and they came up to a wall of timbers, of tree timbers, huge trees that were blocking this wall. They broke through the wall, and behind the wall was a stack of sticks. It looked like sticks and twigs. So when they picked up one of these sticks or twigs, it turned out to be really super heavy. So they carried a bunch of these down to their truck. They had to walk about a mile. When they got to the base of the mountain, they had to walk about a mile to their truck. And they came back a couple days later, and they got more of these sticks and twigs and threw them in the back of their truck. They brought them home and found out it was gold. These were gold sticks and twigs looking deals. And what it was, when the conquistadors came up from Mexico to stash the king's gold, what they did is down in Mexico, they went down into the DG, which is decomposed granite, and they cut tracks that looked like sticks and twigs and logs and everything. And they melted down the gold and poured it in there and then threw the dirt on top of it. And that dirt, or the decomposed granite, adhered to the molten gold. And they dug it up, and they would pack up their mules, and they'd have anywhere from 50 to 100 mules going across the desert. And they would pack it up. And so when the Native Americans would see these conquistadors coming through with sticks and twigs on the side of their mules, they left them alone. They didn't bother them. So they buried it up in this spot in the Apache Junction, in this cave area, and blocked it all off. Well, these guys found it. Well, within 3 months, one of the brothers dies. Mysteriously dies. And they bury him. And then about 6 months later, one of the friends, one of the three, the other one dies. And they bury him, just thinking, well, he's a young kid and everything, and he's run a hard life. I guess they were in their 20s or 30s. And then it was within a year, the third one dies. And they couldn't figure out why. So they did an autopsy on him. Now, this is back in 1969 when this happens. They do an autopsy on him and find out he died of mercury poisoning. So they exhumed the other two bodies, and they found out they died of mercury poisoning. What happened was, when the conquistadors buried this stuff, they processed their gold with lots of mercury, and it attached itself to the gold. And then when they covered the gold bars with the mercury to get the gold, the yellow sheen out of it, and then when they did that, they had all the stones and brick and rocks on there. So when these guys got it and they were processing it, it was rubbing off on their skin, and that's how they got mercury poisoning from that. This is another treasure story I heard.
You said they were processing it?
When they found out it was gold, they were processing it.
So they were
melting it down, and they were melting it and touching it and everything else. They just had mega overdoses of mercury.
Yep.
Mercury vapors and everything is what killed. So
even after you find it, you still got to be careful.
That's right. Wear gloves.
Something.
But I was up there back in 1984. I was up in that exact area, and I didn't even know about the story, but I saw this huge indent in the ground. I mean, it must go down from the regular surface. It must be down about 5 or 6 feet. So when I got back into Apache Junction, I went down to the historical museum that's down there, and I asked the curator about it, and he's the one who told me the story about what happened. But there's part of your research. Go to the museums, go to the newspapers in that area, and find the old timers. Those are the ones that are going to tell you the stories of that area. Just do your research. It's out there.
Again, like we said earlier, research.
There you go.
And then research some more.
technology has opened up so much resources for us with research compared to the old days of ordering microfiche from BLM and stuff. And what sites do you like to use and programs for your research besides going to libraries and reading some books and articles and stuff? What's like My Land Matters or anything like that?
No, what I usually do is on our website, on the WATS website, if you go to, you look on there and you look up James Fierro, he's got a scribe page on there, and you could go into scribe. He's got every treasure magazine ever printed since the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up to present. And what he does is he takes all those magazines and he downloads them and puts them on Scribe. And you, if you know what you're looking for, you could look it up on there and read the articles and everything. The best way to do it is go to your local museums or your historical centers and go in there, and newspapers. Nowadays, you could research almost anything on newspapers, but you want to go back as far as possible. Don't go for the newer stuff. Go for the older stuff.
Right. Go for the older stories, the older articles.
The oldest ones you could find. Just like topographical maps. Here's a good a deal on topographical maps. If you get a topographical map that was made 20 years ago for the Durango area, and then you get one that was made 50 years ago, you're going to see 100% difference in the two of them. Okay, because you're going to have, the new ones are going to have the roads and all that. But the biggest thing that I found with topographical maps is what they call mountains or ravines or different places. Perfect story is the Superstition Mountains. I was looking for the DeGracias paintings up there. And we had the newest topo maps. We had the oldest. And then we had ones from the 20s and 30s. And we were looking for Angel Springs. And every single topographical map that we looked at, Angel Springs was in a totally different area than where it should have been.
Huh.
And it just matters who's making that map at that time or what the locals call that area is what it is on that map. Also, the maps that were done, I met a man back in the 80s that worked on a chain gang for the BLM. They had chains that were 500-600 feet long, sometimes 1,000 feet long, and every 10 feet or every 20 feet or every 100 feet there was a tag. One guy would stand at the bottom and hold the chain, and the other guy would climb to the top of the mountain, and when he got up there, he would read the tag that was sitting at the top of the mountain, and he was able to tell you the height of that mountain and everything else. So he would take and write it down in his notes. And they did that all over. He did that all over Arizona. And he says at times, like he says, especially when we were doing north of the Superstitions, he says, we weren't going to climb up that mountain, so we guessed. We said it was 2,000 feet. He says it might only been 500 feet, but we weren't climbing up there to find out. So we just mapped it out that way. So you want to get the older topographical maps because those are the ones that the old timers from the 1800s and everything else named those peaks and mountains because he said when they were in town, they would say to people, well, what's that mountain over there? And the guy would say, that's the Night Sky Mountain. So they'd write down Night Sky. But 20 years later, when they go back and they redo it, they'd ask the locals, what's the name of that? And they would say, oh, that's Midnight Mountain. So you have to look for the older ones. And then when you go into your research, somewhere in research might say it's the night sky mountain. Well, you have a topographical map that shows you the night sky mountain. So now you're closer to what you're looking for. And
I guess it is. So I am going in the right direction as far as looking for old top maps and just old maps of all sorts, right?
Exactly. Go for the oldest information you could find.
Right.
If you go to a garage sale and you find a treasure book from the 50s or 50s of lost treasure, and you read that story in there, most likely it's firsthand information. Now, if you go to the store today and you get an article and it's the same story as, let's say, it's the easy one to pick for people, the Superstition Mountains, Jacob Walsh, the Lost Dutchman. You go back to the 40s and the 50s when these stories were written about the Lost Dutchmans. Now you read the newer story. That newer story is the guy can't copy what was said before, so he puts it in his own words, and it's totally different than the actual story. So you want to get the oldest information because most likely it'll be firsthand or secondhand at the most. Just like when you were in school, you were a kid, the teacher said, let's play a game. And she tells the first kid, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. And by the time the 20th kid said it, it was factory. You know, the story changes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Stories change. So always go for your oldest research.
When I lived in Washington, Wayne, I would read a lot of the old CCC books, you know, from the Conservation Corps. And whose administration was that? Roosevelt or I forget what they were way back though. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And
Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders.
Right, but no, I mean with the Conservation Corps, when they were rebuilding the highways and doing stuff all across the country, they would keep track of everything. The geology, gold they found, cutting roads and deposits, areas. They engineers and geologists reports in these books, and I would check them out. And like you said, go for the older topographical maps. I knew some surveyors back home in Washington that they would tell me there's a lot of maps that have, or a lot of stuff that never get on the newer maps because a lot of guys won't put them on. And you'll have to look at older maps to find a lot of stuff. And a lot of that's really neat stuff that they know if they put it on, people would find it, and then more people, and then it'd be wrecked, more or less.
Well, your older topographical maps from, let's just say, the Stanton area from the 60s show all the old mine shafts and all the tailing piles and all the tunnels and all that. The newer maps, they might have 1% or 2% of them on there. They don't show them anymore because they eliminated it. You used to be able to get a topographical map and read it, and then you buy another piece of paper for 25 cents, told you what everything meant on there.
Right.
It was a key, but now when you get the key, it's not on the newer maps. The mine shafts, the tunnels, the mill sites, all that.
Right.
That's just gold speaking. But like train beds and everything else, they would show those on the older maps. They don't show those on the newer maps anymore.
Right.
They eliminated all that.
PD from Scotland. Did Wayne watch the Superstition Mountain TV show? what was that on? What channel was that on?
Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Probably Discovery or Explorer.
Yes, I did watch it, and knowing better, I just didn't watch anymore. It wasn't worth it. Like I said, I have an inside track on it, and I would only be able to go there once a month or once every 2 months, maybe spend no more than 2 days. But I would have such an audience for where this is. It's not conducive at this time.
Right.
To do that. I would have to get night vision and everything else to go, so they couldn't find me.
Well, I can imagine with all the publicity of the Superstition Mountains, you know, with this show coming on, and the legends you know, as old as it is, that there are people that are probably just camped out, waiting for you to get closer and go, oh, he found it, I'll get him.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
there's at least 1 or 2 deaths a year since the beginning, since this all was revealed back in the 30s, that people actually do turn up missing every year, at least 1 or 2 a year, looking for the lost Dutchman. And they're all about 15 miles away, I'll tell you. I can tell you that much. It's nowhere near Weaver's Needle.
Well, you know,
Yeah, it's over there. Oh, no, wait, it's over there. What creek was that? Oh, no, tell them.
Yeah. But just about every year they'll find a skeleton somewhere or a head, because the coyotes or the animals will rip a head off and move it away from the body. But about every year they find a head or 2 up in the Superstition Mountains.
isn't that part of the
Indian thing
summit?
with the red hand, that special warrior, Apache warriors that protects that area?
It, right. And actually, the Lost Dutchman's mine is not what people think. It's not an actual mine shaft. It's actually things that he high-graded because he was a assayer for several mines. The last one he worked for was the Vulture mine, but a lot of it's high-graded ore that's been hidden in the mountains by
Oh, so it's all caches, huh?
Right, it's all caches in one spot.
And I had heard that before.
Yeah.
And he would he would leave early in the morning from Apache Junction and be back 3 days later. So one day walking in, one day spending there, and one day walking back out, and he never took the same route twice.
That's a lot of routes.
Yep. So how many miles can you walk in a day?
Well, that's kind of rough terrain there, so it couldn't be that many miles.
Oh, it's rough terrain, but it's easy to get through the passes and everything and through the canyons.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
But if
Especially
he left
if you know where you're
Apache,
going. Especially if you know where you're going, right?
right? If he left Apache Junction and he got to the Weaver's Needle, which is only about 4 or 5 miles away, okay, why would he stay there for 3 days to go 4 or 5 miles?
Right. Well, that's true.
So you have to figure out a man of his age. I think he was in his mid-30s. A man of his age, how far a man of his age could walk in a day's time, rest the day, and then walk back out. And that's just something that you'd have to go to the mountains and try out for yourself. And the elevation, I believe, is like 1,200 feet. So if I were to go down there, I could probably walk 20 miles in a day, because I'm at 6,200 feet, and I'm going to get a lot of oxygen when I'm at 1,200 feet.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out, somebody that lives in that area, how many miles can they walk in one day and what direction?
Right.
So
That's not one of the treasures that ever really interested me, mainly because it was so far away from me. So, mostly stuff around here is what piqued my interest.
Right. And you have a lot in Indiana, too. There's a lot of treasures over there.
That's true. Here in Ohio, too, there's a story that I was told of some kids who broke into a house and stole this guy's coin collection of gold and silver coins. And they, on their getaway, the cops started chasing them, and they went over the Maumee River here in Ohio and tossed it all out over the bridge into the water. The cop that was telling me this, or actually he was a ranger, forest ranger, was telling me the story. He says they picked some of it up, but they didn't get anywhere near all of it. I mean, it was like a big bag of it. And I'm thinking, and I know that spot. And when I look at Google Earth, yeah, well, it's underwater.
All the lead sinkers.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
But
you could buy a underwater metal detector. My Garrett Gold, AT Gold, I could go up to 10 feet deep in it in water.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, water gets down to about thigh high when it gets low, and when you use Google Earth and look at this river at certain stages, you see all the bedrock, exposed bedrock, and all the cracks in it. So I'm thinking they threw it over the bridge, landed in the water, bag broke apart or whatever, and kind of spread around into those cracks.
Well, most likely what happened is when they threw it in the water, the bag broke, and those coins got floated. They could have floated 200 feet. Now, do you ever have big mad rushes of water come through there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it could be up to a mile away by now.
Sure. But like I said, the other thing is it's got a lot of exposed rock, bedrock.
With some nice cracks in it, too.
Nice cracks. Big cracks, little cracks. So
coin slots.
I'd be getting me a metal. I'd be getting a Garrett metal detector, or White's has them. Most of them all sell.
Well, our coils are waterproof on our Garretts, Jesse.
Right, your coil is.
Right.
On your Ace 350 and my Ace 250, even my other one. So as long as we don't get the brain in the water, we're fine. It's not like I have a Garrett Max yet.
The biggest problem with using a metal detector there is that every spring we have a walleye run, and we have miles of fishermen elbow to elbow in that water, losing lures and sinkers and.
Gotta dig the trash to dig the treasure.
I know.
There you go.
And those all that lead could become diving weights.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of it there.
What you do is you collect all that lead and you just keep putting it in a bigger container and a bigger container, and then you go to the fishing game and you say, hey, this is what I did for you. I didn't charge you to take out all this lead or all these sinkers or whatever else you find in there, just to let you know I'm cleaning up the environment. Let them know what you're doing, and then you'll get free passes anytime you want to go out there. Otherwise, they'll start hassling you for being out there. Just show them what you find.
The biggest problem here is access to the river.
Right.
If you get access to the river, you're fine.
Right.
But it's all, private property. So there's a few park areas that you can get into. But
a bridge or something.
Right. So
we don't have the public land that Westerners have here.
Well, if you're in Washington, Oregon, or California doesn't do it anymore because they can't dredge there. But Washington and Oregon, they collect all their mercury and all their lead and everything else, and they go before the state legislator and they show them, we've collected all this gold, all this lead and all this mercury, and they'll bring in pounds of this stuff and show them that they're cleaning the environment.
Right. Oh, and we know that's what we're doing.
Right.
You know, we know that. So yeah, we just gotta, like we do, we just gotta get the youth involved.
Right. Go to schools, talk to schools. Here in Colorado, they have History Month of Colorado, and it usually runs a week. And so that's when I used to go a lot, because my kids in school and everything. That's when I would go and do the gold panning for them. And I teach them the history of gold prospecting in Colorado.
Here, when you say that to a lot of people, they go, yeah, okay, sure.
We do a lot of Boy Scout demos. We do a lot of Boy Scout demos.
Yes.
Yeah, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Clubs, any county fairs you could get into. I mean, if you go to a county fair and you tell them that you want to teach gold panning, either they'll give you your booth for free or they'll charge you half price. And you give it away for free. And what I do is I use pyrite in my deal, and then I give them a little 1-inch Ziploc bag, 1 inch by 1 inch, and I let the kids, whatever they find, we throw gemstones in there, marbles, all kinds of stuff. And we use pyrite because it's a good teaching aid. And then they are able to take whatever they want home with them. And we just teach them how to pan for gold.
There you go. That could be like on our demonstrations with the kid when we have those tubs with different, testing, teaching tub, and then the panning tub. And
right. Use pyrite.
Yeah, that's well, we like to show them the real gold. So
yeah, they do really like seeing the real deal.
We have what we do is we have a bucket, our demo cons that we use, and we put that in one trough. Teach them how to pan in that. Let them find the gold. Teach them how to get it. How to find it in a pan, and then.
Right.
Because they're Boy Scouts, what we do is the club makes up these little $5 bags, and we sell them the bags for $5. They want to take it home with them, and
and a pan and a snuffer, maybe.
Yeah, right. We don't have a whole lot of gold to be giving away, so unfortunately,
But
that's why you go and you use the pyrite.
When we do it with disabled vets or other veterans with our Take a Veteran prospecting project, they get to keep whatever they find.
Right.
We've gotten donations from our prospecting friends across the country helping us with that. They've donated, con bags and stuff like that we've added to it. And then when we go do veterans, we let them keep what they find. It's controlled, but they still get to keep what they find.
Right.
So otherwise we get what happened at Indianapolis Gold Show.
yeah. You'd have a bunch of people just around there all day.
Right. Well, and one of the biggest problems is a lot of the people started learning how to use the gold claw. We were teaching them how to use the gold claw, and they were killing it. They were
true.
The first day they ran out of gold, so they had to. They backed off on how much they were putting in the second day for the gold show because they basically got wiped out with that gold claw.
I wonder if Brandon and Felix Paydirt will stop putting gold claws in the booths.
Yeah, I think that's what did it too. I think the gold claw is what cleaned them troughs out.
You know it did.
Because when we taught somebody that never panned before to use it, they were an ace. It was the guys that had been panning was hard to teach how to use it.
Yeah, true. Because they want to do what force a habit.
Yeah,
you know. So
I showed one fella 3 times. Every time I turned, he's back there shaking it and swirling it. Like, no. Back and forth and tilt it.
Just shake it and pour it.
Yeah.
Well, I do an average of 4 to 5 shows a year, and I'll go through 2 to 3 pounds of pyrite every year.
Yeah.
That is a decent idea because they get a kick just out of seeing that flash of pyrite. But when you say, well, that's fool's gold, they go, is that gold? Oh, no, that's fool's gold.
When the kids are standing there and they go, how much is this worth? I say it's worth $10,000. Really? Mom, I got 10,000. And the mother will come over and she'll say something to me. I says, it's worth more than that, because you look at his eyes brighten up, you know, and the kid will go to school the next day and says, I found $10,000 worth of gold. So, you know, it just gets the people interested and the kids interested. Right. And we've had times at shows where I've had adults, they're standing there and tapping their toes, waiting for the kid to get going, you know, and I say, here, take this pan and do a little bit of panning. So they'll stand there, and all of a sudden the kids are going, come on, Mom, I'm hungry. And Mom or Dad will be standing panning away, don't want to leave. So pyrite's a good thing.
There's been more than one time where all of a sudden the parents taking over and the parents asking all the questions, and the parent wants to know, how do you do this and how much I got to spend here, what I got to buy, on. And the kids standing there going, not saying anything, just looking.
And we always ask a parent, you got a creek on your property we can come to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We always try to find creeks. This last one we did, one kid finally brought some good material in.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be careful what you ask, you know, because they were asked to bring dirt in. So kids were bringing in stuff from their parents' garden, stuff from the field. One kid did bring some dirt from a creek in their backyard. They actually found some gold. So
and an arrowhead.
And an arrowhead.
And the kid was excited, the mom was excited, his dad was excited.
We got a gold mine.
Yeah, right. Oh, how much gold can we get? I don't know. You should let us come over and check it out. Okay, guys, I'm starting to run low on my battery again.
All right. Well, it's going on 3 hours.
Yeah.
I have to get up early in the morning and still got work to do. And so.
Well, I appreciate the time and the call-ins and the questions. If you want more, okay.
Randy Scotty Tony wants to know about dowsing rods.
About what?
Dowsing rods.
Oh, dowsing rods? Oh. They're pretty awesome.
Okay.
In fact, a friend of mine down in Sholo, Arizona, right now as we speak, it's at the printer. He will have books available, and he also sells dowsing rods. But dowsing rods are called witching rods, or, you know, the old timers used to find wells for them with them. They take a willow, a Y-shaped willow, and find it. But dowsing rods are basically 2 pieces of metal. It's just basically a welding rod. And you ask the dowsing rods questions, and it'll point for you. People think that, well, dowsing rods are only good for water. I use them for water, gold, silver, treasure, anything you want, whatever you ask those dowsing rods. And it takes a little research, to do it, but if anybody comes to Colorado, I always have a pair of dowsing rods on my windshield in my truck. They're laying right up on my dash, and I use them all the time.
Ed's our resident dowser here.
I doused with rods and a pendulum. Actually, Randy Scotty Tony has a couple pairs of rods from me. Yeah, I know you know what they are.
Map dowsing. Map dowsing's a real good thing. I'm sure you do map dowsing. I got
with my pendulum, yes.
Right. And they work.
It used to it used to freak me out when I first started playing with them, and started researching more on them and messing with them more. But geez, when it first happens, when I first got into it, I'm like, dang, what am I doing? What am I dealing with?
Jesse lost his phone.
Yeah, doggone, I don't think he can charge his phone while he has his earbuds in, because he's on an iPhone, and I think it's all part of that jack.
They are now. My old one is, I have a jack on mine, but the new ones, you got to plug it right in where you charge it for your earbuds.
Right. So you lose your power supply if you want to use your earbuds. And now some of them are wireless.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The dowsing rods are an awesome thing. I will tell you, they do not work for everybody.
No, they don't.
But and sometimes they work for me and sometimes they don't. It matters the state of mind, as they call it. But I've been pretty successful with dowsing rods.
Yeah, I've found some pretty decent color with them. I know they work, like you said, not for everybody though, but they do tend to work for me. Jesse won't touch them. So
it's the devil.
They're wicked.
It's the devil.
Well, if anybody's going to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, I guess it's in a couple of weeks. The GPAA is going to be down there. Stop by the Sholo chapter booth, and Ron Ream is the guy that wrote the book. And I've read parts of it when he was writing it, and it's a very good book about dowsing. If you're down there, stop down, pick up a set of dowsing rods. I think he sells them for $25, and then the book I think is like $8 or $9. But pick one up, and it'll help you out. He'll also teach you down there how to use dowsing rods. And if anybody comes to Colorado, I'll show you how to douse. We'll see if you're good at it. And I don't sell dowsing rods, but I could teach you how to make them. They're real easy to make.
Yeah, I haven't sold any yet, but I've given away a few.
I only got about 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, it's also got a video on making them.
Yeah, making them, using them, map dowsing, a little series on the history of dowsing, and a little about it. And I didn't get into some of the other stuff like bobbers or the miner's needle or anything like that. Just pretty much the pendulum and the rods.
Right. Well,
but
my
I've
rods...
even used them at work to locate survey spikes. You know, when the surveyor will put a rebar spike in the ground where he surveys, and use them for water lines before on the job.
Yep. Dowsing rods work, and they're sometimes beneficial. Now, on mine, when I'm down in Arizona, down in Stanton area, I take out my 2 little Stanton nuggets and I tape them to the ends. People say, well, it doesn't make a difference. But when I was in Nome, Alaska, I tried my dowsing rods and they weren't working. So I got some Nome, Alaska gold from the claim we were working on and taped 2 little pieces on the edge of my dowsing rods, and they went wild and they worked good. So but you have to use the gold for that area or what you're looking for in that area.
I do carry a witness quite often when I'm dowsing. So. Excellent. Well, yeah, I'm surprised Judy hasn't pounded on the kitchen floor yet.
Don't press your luck. I haven't heard it stomping.
Yeah.
Don't press your luck.
I better not laugh too loud, huh? All right. Well, Wayne, stick around for a moment, please, if you would. It seems like a good time to call it a night. I really appreciate my friends across the pond, Ralph and PD. Thank you very much, David from Australia, Tasmania, our friend, and our friends coast to coast. We really appreciate you being here. You are the reason why we're here. So thank you very much. And until then, let me see. Next week we'll have Auqachigger on, Metal Detectorist, and YouTuber. He'll also be down with you, Wayne, in Texas for the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt. And what else is there? Anything else, guys?
No. Well, I do have a meeting this Saturday with the Vietnam Veterans Association.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to try to set up something for this spring down to Swank, or maybe we talk hook into a deal or something.
Well, you know, he always said, you know, he's really game to do some stuff with the vets and stuff.
And seemed like he had good access.
Right. But either way,
we'll find that out this spring because we're going.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to go there one time before we take anybody there.
Right.
So, but good show tonight. Thank you, Wayne.
Yes, very much.
Appreciate
Wayne.
your stories.
Really appreciated you taking your time.
Well, I thank you, and Watts thanks you, and hope to see a lot of people this next year. Come on out to Colorado, visit, and get a hold of me. And if you could make it to the Garrett hunt down there in Jefferson County, love to see you down there. And we'll be hanging out. My 2 kids and I will be going down. We'll be there Thursday through Sunday and enjoying the hunt, the fishing, and the bottle collecting and everything else.
Cool.
Excellent. All right, everybody.
Yeah, so if you guys get a chance to get out there, check them out.
Definitely hook up with Wayne. Oh, geez,
Yep.
this thing's backwards and I get mixed up. Definitely look up Wayne and Watts. Visit their website. And he gave his email out. If you're ever in Colorado, look him up. Thank you all very much for joining us here, taking your valuable time to be with us tonight. Hope to see you next week. Until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
You know what he always says after that?
That's right, my brother of another mother. Maybe one day, too, you'll meet us, or we'll meet you on the river. Good night, everybody.
And it can happen.
Good night.
It does happen.
Good night, Ed.
Good night, Jesse. Good night,
Jesse.
Dano.
Not
Good
Ed.
night, Wayne.
And not
Good night,
Wayne.
everybody.
Good night, Little John.
Good night, everyone.
You guys hear me?